The CBS Radio Mystery Theater presents... Come in. Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall. Not many people, I suppose, remember the name of the writer Joseph Sheridan Le Fanu. Yet among fans of the Gothic tale, he is considered by many as the equal of the great masters such as Poe, Stevenson, and de Maupassant. Judge for yourself as you listen to perhaps his greatest short story, grisly, ghoulish, and inexpressibly haunting. Our mystery drama, Till Death Do Us Join, was written especially for the Mystery Theater by Ian Martin and stars Don Scardino and Roberta Maxwell. Of all the painting he must have done in his solitary lifetime, there exists today, in remarkable condition, only one canvas of Godfrey Schalkens, pupil of Gerard Boukman, who in turn was a pupil of the great Rembrandt. The picture represents a chamber in some antique religious building. Its foreground is occupied by a young woman of startling beauty, her face illuminated by a strange smile, half lovely, half evil. In the background is the shadowy form of a man dressed in the old Flemish fashion, propped up in a coffin, as though in a bed. A fascinating picture, and a chilling one. No one who views it can repress a shudder. Why? On the back of the canvas is a legend, written in cramped longhand by the painter, which may serve to explain why.
They think me boorish, rude, and laugh at my slovenly ways and filthy habits. But they buy my pictures, for I am an artist beyond peer. My whole life I have devoted to trying to forget what I once was. The only life I have had is canvas and pigments, and a search for escape in the only fashion I can accomplish it. Once I was young as other men, with a bright future in my chosen profession, full of laughter and joy and madly in love. Oh, there were barriers to overcome, impossible heights to scale, but with the hope and optimism of youth, I knew I could win out. How could I know that a force beyond any human strength would strangle my spirit, twist and deform my soul, and doom me to a lifetime of despair? Rose!
We are alone, beloved?
All the other students are gone.
And Herr Boukman?
He left the studio for home less than 5 minutes ago.
I know. I only wanted to be sure I had made no mistake.
How do you know?
I had Jacob, the groom, drive me into Amsterdam today to shop for some silks. On the way back, I had him stop at his favorite beerstube to have a beer and groom the horses, whilst I took a stroll along the canal. I was hoping to catch you alone at the studio, and my prayers were answered when I saw my uncle climb into his carriage and drive off.
My dearest one, if only I could declare my love for you openly.
Oh, you will be famous very soon, and we are still young. We have time.
Every moment spent away from you is an eternity.
It is just as bad for me. But for the moment, we must live with it. Come, let me see what you have been working on, my genius.
No, it is in no shape. I cannot make it come right, and it is still only a sketch.
But, Godfrey, you're wrong. The conception is beautiful, and even the freehand outline tells all the world you are a master, or to become one.
Tells all the world. Well, perhaps you're right. For you are all my world. If whatever I do satisfies you, it would be reward enough.
Oh, no. We must do better than that so that we can have each other. Finish this one as you have started, and I will see that Uncle Gerard gets the canvas to the right places. Once someone buys you, you will become a vogue. I know it. I feel it in my bones.
Not in your heart?
In my heart, what I feel is my love for a man named Godfrey Shalkin.
Will I ever be rich enough to make you my wife?
Hold me, Godfrey. Hold me very tight.
Rose. Rose.
I want to believe. Help me to.
In every way I can.
Oh.
But what happened?
I don't know. A sudden chill, as if... The time. I must go. I would do nothing to set Minea Bookman against us.
Why can't I just go to him?
No, I beg you. I know my uncle. He would only send you away, and then you would have lost everything. Me, his teaching, your future. Hush, my darling. Trust in God. And let us hope. I love you. I shall always love you. God give you grace.
What grace has a God who keeps two lovers apart? Heaven forgive me. I meant it not. But the words had been said and could not be taken back. I turned to my sketch, one of the temptations of St. Anthony by the devil. I set to work and was so busily engaged that an hour or so must have passed. The light was gone. As I sat back, I heard a sort of sniff behind me. A few feet behind me stood the figure of an elderly man in a cloak and a broad-brimmed conical hat. The room was so dark by now that the shadow from his hat obscured his features entirely. But I was impressed, awed at the perfect stone-like stillness of the figure. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you come in.
This is the studio of Gerard Bookman.
It is. Will you sit, mynheer?
No. I wish to talk to him.
He has returned to his home some hours past. If you would wish to seek him there...
No. Will you see him before tomorrow evening?
Oh, yes, sir. I am one of his pupils, and he will be here by late morning to commence his classes.
Are you to be trusted with a message?
I hope so.
Fail to deliver it at your peril. Tell Gerard Bookman that Meneer van der Hausen of Rotterdam wishes to speak to him here tomorrow evening at exactly 7 in this room on matters of weight.
He turned abruptly and with a quick but utterly silent step quit the room. Some strange premonition drew me to the window through which I could see the exit door to the street bordering the canal. I waited in vain for him to appear. The darkness was now gathering in earnest. Leaving the studio and locking the door, I half expected to find him lurking in the halls below. But he had vanished as mysteriously and completely as he had first appeared. Nor was the mysterious stranger further identified when I reported him to Mynheer Bookman the following noon.
Van der Hausen? Van der Hausen. No, his name means nothing to me. From Rotterdam, you say?
He said.
Yes. Well, we shall wait for the appointed hour, and in the meanwhile, to work. I have looked at your sketches on the temptation of St. Anthony. The line, the chiaroscuro, the coloration are acceptable, well done and conceived. But the expressions, it's as if St. Anthony were the devil and the devil the saint. What is your conception? Why?
Your Honor, I cannot answer. I do not know.
Well, the other pupils are arriving. And let's see if your conception can improve during class studies. So, my poor Shalkin. The others are all gone, and I had little time for you today. How went the canvas?
I don't know, Master. I found it hard to concentrate.
And so did I. Let's forget pigment and brushes a while and join me in a glass of brandy. It's been a long, hard day, and I have some strange premonition. This visitor you tell me to expect bears some ill tidings. Well, at all events, let's fortify ourselves against ill chance. Your health.
Your health.
At 7, you said.
He said.
Vanderhausen. Never heard of the man. What can he want of me? A portrait? A poor relation to be apprenticed? A collection to be evaluated?
Well, you should soon learn. The Stadthouse is sounding the hour. I should leave.
No. Stay with me, Godfrey. You're young and strong. And for some reason, I have a foreboding about this mysterious appointment. No, the clock has ceased. I shall not wait too long for...
He seems to be here, sir.
Now go. Let him in.
By your leave, young sir. You are Gerard Bookman?
I am. I have the honor to address Mynheer Vanderhausen of Rotterdam.
The same.
I understand your worship wished to meet with me, and I'm here, as you see, by your appointment.
It is well. Is that a man of trust?
Well, he's my prized pupil, of course.
Yes. Well, then let him take this box of leather and get the nearest jeweler or goldsmith to value its contents.
Why?
That I will explain to you alone. But I wish him to return with a certificate of the value of the contents.
That is a strange request, Mynheer. May I ask the reason?
When we are alone.
And I think Jan Spuyten in the next street will still be open. Godfrey, will you gratify the gentleman's wish?
Your wish, sir. I will take as little time as I can. I had in my hands a small leather case, about 9 inches square, surprisingly heavy for its size. I was less curious about its contents than the conversation I was about to miss. If I could even have dreamed of its subject and the consequences. But how could I? Instead of clairvoyance, I reacted normally to my master's order and sought the information I had been asked to get.
Who is it?
Godfrey Schalken, pupil of Master Gerard Bookman.
Were it not for your master's good offices and the designs he presents me with, neither God nor the devil would persuade me to open up at this late hour. Well, what is it, young sir?
My master bid me bring the contents of this leather case to you for evaluation.
That scuffed and crumbling jewel box? What nonsense. Still, by its antiquity, it's curious and challenging. But come in, by all means. The wind makes enemies of my old bones. Now, what is the urgency that prompts this haste?
I know not, Mynheer Spuyten.
Well, then let me see. Give me the case. Good Lord.
What is it?
A moment. My loop and my scale so I can examine and weigh. Gold ingots. If they're say true, this is a king's ransom, young man.
If Godfrey Schalken had only known, or guessed, he might have been tempted to seize the fortune in gold ingots and bury it in Amsterdam's deepest canal. For the contents of that scuffed, scraped case, soiled with age, were to turn his life about and transform him from a young, carefree man to the bitter, hating wretch who painted with the flair of the gods. I'll be back shortly with Act 2. While Godfrey Shulkin was learning from the goldsmith the incredible value of the contents of the leather case, a conversation was taking place between the mysterious stranger and his master. A conversation concerned with the girl he loved, Rose Welderkraust, Bookman's niece. A conversation that established those golden ingots not as a king's ransom, but a queen's.
Herr Bookman, I will be free with you. I cannot, by limitations I dare not discuss, tarry with you long.
Well, surely I can offer you a drink?
No.
Some refreshment, food?
No.
Well, at least let me raise the lights.
No.
Divest you of your outer garments.
No.
I can feed the fire more logs to warm you.
I have no need of your offers, nor desire of them. I come to make you an offer.
Will you come to the fire and sit?
I prefer to stand where I am. The shadows suit me well.
I don't understand.
Some time ago, I saw you in the Church of St. Lawrence in Rotterdam. With you was a young girl of exceptional beauty, whom I later ascertained was your niece. I desire to marry her.
Without meeting her, conversing with her, just from one glimpse?
That was enough to convince me she was the woman I desire to share my future with.
But Rose...
If I can satisfy you that I am wealthier than any husband you could ever dream for her, I expect that you, Herr Bookman, will forward my suit with your authority, and I must add that if you are to approve my proposal, it must be here and now, for I can brook no delays.
You're extremely arbitrary, Mynheer.
I am constrained to be. I offer no apology.
I did not ask for one.
You might reasonably have. My circumstances are such that I have none to offer.
Well, you must be aware that my niece has a will of her own, and may not acquiesce in what we may design for her advantage.
The young man I sent out with a packet will return shortly. That will prove the evidence of my wealth and security for your niece's life. I promise you it will be 10 times the fortune she could expect. All of it, in the interest that accrues, shall be hers as long as she lives. Can I be more liberal?
Well, if what you tell me is true, of course not.
As to my respectability, you must take that for granted, at least for the present. I buy my name and reputation with what you're about to discover about me. My wealth.
You must give me a moment to think.
I remind you again, my time is limited.
I will not pledge myself unnecessarily.
But you will if it is necessary, and I consider it so. A testy old gentleman determined to have his own way, eh?
Why, those were the very words
that you were thinking, I know. You also thought to yourself, all things considered, I'm not justified in declining the offer if the gold involved is satisfactory. Am I correct?
You read my mind correctly.
Please forgive the intrusion and my abruptness. But we are both men of sense as well as sensibility. Your niece is penniless. I shall make her as rich or richer than a queen. When your young man returns with a valuation, if you don't wish the proposal withdrawn, you must immediately sign this engagement.
Enter. Master, I have brought Mynheer Spuyten's valuation of the contents of the case.
Give them to Mynheer Vanderhausen.
Oh, no. Give them to Mynheer Bookman.
Yes, sir. Here they are, Master.
Gold ingots? Their value. I can't believe it.
Neither could Jan Spuyten or myself. I fled back through the streets, searching every shadow. I have never seen so much wealth.
10,000 guilders.
A token only. My wealth is limitless. Will you sign the contract now?
A moment. My eyes are tired and the light is dim.
This youth must witness the contract. Let him read it to you.
Will you, Godfrey?
Yes, Master. This document represents an irrevocable agreement by Gerard Bookman as guardian at law to give Wilken Vanderhausen the hand of his niece, Rose Velderkaust.
Go on, boy, go on.
Of his niece, Rose Velderkaust, in marriage within 1 week of the date of this document. In exchange for this covenant, the said Wilken Vanderhausen agrees to provide as a marriage settlement a package of gold ingots.
I don't think it's necessary to read the rest. It's only the jargon of advocates. Mynheer Bookman, I have not tried in any way to stint in my offer. Now, are you, for your niece's sake as well as for your own, content?
But I would dearly like perhaps another day to consider.
Not 1 hour.
Very well. I am content. I can scarcely deny my niece her good fortune. Nay, Godfrey?
How can I presume to offer an opinion, except that Rose, your Frau Velderkaust, should she not be consulted?
A young girl is not the best judge of her future. Rose is my responsibility. Lovely as she is, when could she have such a chance again? Mynheer Vanderhausen, I'm content. It is a bargain.
Then sign at once, I implore you, for I am weary.
Very well.
And now, the witness.
I can't. I won't.
What's this, Godfrey? I've taken you into my studio, supported you, taught you, reared you. How can you refuse me one simple request in return?
I can't. Well, surely Rose...
There is only one answer, Mynheer Bookman. That young man is as taken with your niece as I am. Very well. Now, would you choose between us? Must we find another witness, or do I take my document and vanish from your life?
Godfrey, how can you think of Rose? You, a painter, an artist. You have your own dedication in a field which may leave you penniless for the rest of your life. If you do truly love Rose, how can you deny her this opportunity?
I love her more than life itself. I want only her happiness.
Then sign.
Master, there is Rose herself.
Rose is not yet ready to know her own mind. I am her guardian. It's my duty to secure her future. If you love my niece, you'll realize it's in her own best interests.
Because I love her, then, I sign.
It is well. I will take the contract, and you keep the gold. I shall visit you at your house tomorrow night at 9 o'clock, my good Mynheer Bookman, to meet formally with the object of the contract.
Again, stiffly, but with the same rapid movement, the shadowed figure was gone so swiftly I had no time to open the door for him. Again, the same unnamed fear drove me to the window to watch for his exit down below. And again, his movement must have been so rapid that I failed to see him leave and enter the street.
Godfrey?
Yes, Master.
I'm sorry. I didn't know that you'd formed an attachment to my niece.
I have no right to.
And I'm glad you're sensible of that. A painter, it's an uneasy life of sacrifice and, most of the time, poverty. So I shall hold my peace till the appointment a week from now. And you will join us at dinner.
Must I?
It will be better for all of us to face and accept the future. It's striking 9, Rose. Is all arranged?
As you see, Uncle.
You're a perfect hostess. The fire shines like burnished gold, and the table is set immaculately. Godfrey, a glass of wine?
No, thank you, Master Bookman.
You seem nervous.
I am.
I hope you're not going to lose control of your feelings.
It isn't that, Master.
Then what?
I can't quite explain it. A strange foreboding.
You feel it too?
Does Rose know what the occasion is?
No.
Then it is not too late.
I have signed the contract. My word alone is its bond. But the paper is the final arbiter.
Then there is no escape.
Escape from what? A marriage settlement beyond my wildest dreams for my brother's daughter? I commend you to control your foolish dreams. I've done what must be done. And our guest is here. Rose?
Yes, Uncle.
Come stand by me to greet our visitor.
Yes, Uncle.
This time the room was brightly lighted. This time the mynheer had to shed his outer garments. This time we could see his features for the first time. His undersuit was a rich sable garment, his stockings of dark purple, his feet enclosed in shoes adorned with roses of the same color. His hands were enclosed in gauntlets, his hair long enough to rest on a plaited ruff. So far, all was well. But the face was a bluish, leaden hue, such as metallic medicine sometimes produce. The eyes muddy white and startlingly prominent with the glaze of insanity, and the lips a deep purple, almost black, twisted in a sensual, malignant, almost satanic fashion, such as my unwilling fingers had wanted to trace on the face of my St. Anthony. The effect was so startling that for a long moment no one could speak. It was as though some devilish humor had dressed a corpse from the grave and invigorated it far enough to walk and talk and enter a room with the living.
One must admit, of course, that Shulkin could scarcely see his rival, or to be more truthful, the man who had stolen his beloved from him, in the best light. The painter's eye tends to exaggerate, or at least translate the human figure into his own design. And jealousy is a poor measure for judgment. When we return shortly with Act 3, we will be able to make our own assessment of this strange and devious story. The stranger spoke little during the half hour or so he stayed. Nor could his host manage many more words. Such, indeed, was the nervous terror that Vanderhausen inspired, that it was an effort not to fly in panic from the room. Something undescribably odd was about him. His movements, as if directed by a spirit unused to managing the machinery of the body. And two things were remarked by all. The fact that his eyelids never closed, and that his chest was motionless, unstirred by the process of respiration. It was with a feeling of infinite relief for all when the door finally closed behind him.
Oh, thank God.
Are you all right, Rose?
No. I feel as chilled as someone with fever.
My dear, don't exaggerate.
I don't. He's a frightful man. I wouldn't see him ever again for all the wealth in the world.
Don't be a foolish girl. A man may be as ugly as the devil, but if his heart is good and his actions match it, he's worth more than some handsome puppy with neither brains nor prospect.
I don't want to talk about him anymore.
But we must. The man is wealthy, liberal, and withal good-hearted. He has sued for you as his bride.
His bride?
It is my duty to see you well bestowed. I promised your father on his deathbed that I would make sure of that.
Uncle, Not that man.
Enough for tonight. There are no decisions to make beyond the fact that it is time to retire. Godfrey, I shall see you in the morning.
Yes, Master. Good night, Frau Welderkaust.
No need to be so formal. Rose. And good night, Godfrey. Don't look so troubled. Nothing has changed.
My walk home will be lighted by that knowledge. Good night, Master Bookman.
Good night, my boy. And remember, you're an apprentice painter. That is your first and most important loyalty.
I am acutely aware of where I stand, Herr Bookman. Good night.
Why were you so severe with him, Uncle?
Because we live in a world of reality.
What do you mean?
Do you realize that Mynheer Vanderhausen, who visited us tonight, has guaranteed you 10,000 guilders of your own as an earnest of his love and admiration for you? I have them here.
10,000 guilders?
It's his way of saying how much he loves you. Love, for all its charms, is not the most important thing in the world. You will marry Mynheer Vanderhausen according to the contract.
The mood of hope that my beloved had kindled in me barely lasted till my return home to the bare and cheerless garret I lived in. Even if in my sleepless bed-tossed night I might have held to some grain of hope, the next day would have dispelled them forever had I been at the Bookman house.
Another tradesman's wagon. What can it be now?
I can't wait to see. Oh, Uncle, did you ever see such riches?
Never.
Look at this scarlet domino. How could he know it would be just the right length? Feel the richness of the velvet. And trimmed in white ermine even to the hood.
Oh, I'd love to paint you in that. The hood framing your face. You're all beauty.
What woman would not be in such a cloak? If only Mynheer Vanderhausen...
Hush. Leave his appearance alone. You'll soon accustom yourself to it.
Slippers in every color. A casket of jewels fit for an empress. This white pure silk for my wedding gown. And the lace for my veil and train. Oh, Uncle, was any man ever so generous?
Only the beginning, Rose. Whatever doubts I might have had, I think I've chosen your future well.
And I, too, dear Uncle. I will put Godfrey from my mind. In fact, he is already fading. Look at this necklace. This emerald pin. Oh, thanks to you, dear Uncle. I may be the luckiest girl in the world.
And so, 1 week later, I had to swallow my pride and watch my repulsive rival carry off my beloved Rose in solemn pomp in a carriage and four out of my life to Rotterdam. But I was mistaken. Rose Welderkaust, now Rose Vanderhausen, was not out of my life yet.
And I brought you home, my boy, to sup with me because I'm worried. And I've no one else to turn to.
You may always count on me, Master.
In all things, I know. In particular, this one. Contrary to all promises freely exchanged, it's 4 months since I've heard of my niece. Not one word. I'm too old to travel. Will you then be my emissary and take this letter to the Boomkey to inquire after my niece?
If you desire me to.
I do. You shall stay the night and take the coach for Rotterdam on the morn. I will issue you such funds as you need, and I pray you return post-haste with what word of comfort you can bring me.
I will waste no time. I promise you. I left not a house in the Boomkey untried, Master, but no one had ever heard of Mynheer Vanderhausen.
Well, then where is my niece?
I cannot tell. One thing I did when I returned to Amsterdam, I went to the establishment from which the coach and four was hired to take Rose and her bridegroom to Rotterdam.
It's clever of you. And yes?
The driver reported that late in the evening, before they entered the city, a small party of men, dressed in the old fashion with peaked beards and pointed mustaches, standing in the center of the road, stopped the coach.
Highway robbers?
Apparently not. Mynheer Vanderhausen seemed to have expected them, and he handed Rose down from the carriage and into an ornate, hand-carved but ancient litter, which the men lifted and bore off into the night.
The driver making no attempt to stop them?
No, since there was threat of force. All was as if it had been arranged, except...
Except what?
Except that Rose was weeping bitterly.
Oh, dear Lord, what have I done? What can I do to reach her or help her? Jacob has already retired. See who that is, boy.
At once, Master. Rose!
Oh.
Dearest Rose, what is it?
Wine! Wine, quickly, or I am lost.
Master, she is distraught.
Rose, my dearest, here. Here, drink.
No food. Please, God, at once, or I perish.
I'll cut some meat.
Give it all to me. Send for a priest with all haste. Or in spite of all, I am not safe until he comes. Send for him speedily, or I am lost forever. The dead and the living can never be one. God has forbid it.
Up the stairs, quickly, Father. She is in terrible straits.
Help me! Forgive me! No! He's here. Godfrey, draw your sword. Protect me!
Where, Rose? Where?
There, in the anteroom with you and the priest.
Stand aside, Father. Hold the lamp high. Let me see in the shadows.
Go down, I beg you. Do not leave my bedside.
Only to bring you the priest. Don't be afraid. Father Dowsel, myself, and Godfrey are only a few steps from your bed.
Oh, God, help me, whom I have no right to ask. The candle is out. It is too late. He has come for me.
Don't leave her alone in there.
The door. I can't budge it.
We will break it down.
No, Godfrey.
She's not in the bed. Hold the lamp higher. She's not in the room.
The window. Could she have jumped and fallen?
They're shut fast. The latch is still thrown. There.
Can you see anything?
The street is empty. The canal is smooth as glass. She's gone. Rose is gone. As if she'd never returned. The days that followed are shady and insubstantial in my mind. Half crazed with grief, and at Herr Bookman's remorseful request, I returned to Rotterdam, to the chapel of St. Anthony, where Vanderhausen had first seen Rose. It was after evening vespers, and I was travel-worn and soul-weary. When the worshippers left, I remained alone in the church, and I must have fallen asleep. I was awakened by a soft touch on my shoulder, and awakened to see Rose. Rose.
I want you to forget me, Godfrey, and know that I am content and free from sin at last. Come with me.
She led me by the hand, a lamp in her hand, down a flight of steps into the vaults below. The music faded, and there was only the sound of our footsteps echoing on the stone. Where are you taking me?
To where I have found rest. Enter.
The room was a bedroom, richly furnished. Its main feature, a great four-poster bed, the curtains drawn. She crossed to them, smiling, and said,
You see, we are united at last, my husband and I.
Sitting bolt upright on the bed, held in its position by the pillows, was Mynheer Vanderhausen. The costume I recognized. The face, what was left of it, was still livid as I had first seen it. But by now the bones showed through the decayed flesh. The hands were little more than the claws of a skeleton. Exhausted as I was, overcome by emotion, the room suddenly swayed, and I lost consciousness. I was found the following morning by the sexton. The room in which I lay was the same, except that all the furnishings were gone, save one. In the place of the four-poster bed was nothing but a large and ornate coffin. I rubbed the dust from the nameplate, which read, Mynheer Winkel Vanderhausen, 1606 to 1669. The man had been dead long before Rose Velderkaust or myself were born. Her uncle and I allowed her to marry herself to a corpse.
A sad and terrifying story, not calculated to make sleep any easier tonight, and yet a fascinating and absorbing one, as all of us are drawn irresistibly to the macabre. Besides, of course, it wasn't true. Or was it? To Godfrey Schalken's dying day, it was for him. So, who is to say that it couldn't have happened? Not I. As I said in the beginning, you make your own judgment. I'll be back shortly. Schalken became a kind of living corpse who lived only through his paintings. But in spite of his success, he was recluse enough to insist on mixing his own pigments, which, alas, were not stable enough to stand the wear of time. So only the one canvas I mentioned remains. They say because he used his own blood to dilute the pigment. I don't know. There's no proof. It's just a part of the legend. Our cast included Don Scardino, Roberta Maxwell, Guy Sorrell, and Arnold Moss. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown. This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams. The CBS Radio Mystery Theater presents... Come in. Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall. There are parts of the countryside which wake each day to a morning mist which has settled thickly during the dew-falling night. Through it, the trees have a waiting look. Hills seem to be further off than they are. Cattle look motionless as they graze. White farm horses move and turn in slow and stately unison. Everything is waiting for the sun. Mystery drama, Out of the Mist, was written especially for the Mystery Theater by Elspeth Eric and stars Russell Horton. I'll be back shortly with Act One. Slowly, the morning mist starts to thin out, begins to rise from the ground. Each horse and cow stands in clear outline, and the pasture where they browse shows itself for what it is. Country people call this process burning off. It means the sun has gone to work. The story we bring you now is called Out of the Mist.
I'm crazy about my motorcycle. It's a road bike, fast and light. Great off-the-line acceleration. I love it. The other thing I love is the country. I never even saw the country till I was 19. And if it hadn't been for my bike, I might have lived my whole life without even knowing it was there. My name is Harry Steers. I graduated high school and went right to work in the garment district with the idea of working up the salesman. I might have made it if I hadn't bought my bike. I started riding out of the city on my day off. I saw trees, all kinds. I saw animals, big ones, little ones. I saw fields of corn and clover and daisies. Most important of all, I met the old man. He was standing in front of an old white house trimming a hedge. He looked to be about 100 years old, but I found out later he was only 90. Hi there.
Good morning.
That's a nice-looking hedge. What do you call it?
It's privet. You're not from around here, are you?
No, I'm from the Bronx.
We have privet in the Bronx, too. Are you interested in privet?
Not especially. I'm interested in everything about the country, everything that grows out of the ground. You know, I never knew that carrots lived under the earth.
You think they grew on bushes?
I never thought about it at all. Carrots were just something in the supermarket. If it wasn't for this baby here, I might never have found out.
You mean your motorcycle?
Yeah. Well, nice talking to you.
Yes, it was very nice talking to you.
Hey, listen, do you know there's a flower, I guess it's a flower. I see it along the side of the road a lot lately, a fantastic blue color.
Oh, that's chicory.
Chicory? No, that's not chicory.
It's not?
No, chicory's what my grandmother used to put in coffee.
Well, she was using the root of the domesticated variety. What you see along the road is the wild chicory. It blooms in late summer.
Well, I'd like to take some back to the Bronx.
Oh, I'm afraid you couldn't do that. Wildflowers don't like to be transplanted. They like to wander, follow their impulses. They don't wish to be told what to do, where to go, where to live. They want to be free to roam, take up residence in a spot of their own choosing.
How about that?
And they will brook no interference.
Gee, well,
You have to admire their spirit.
I do. I admire it.
You want to be on your way to the Bronx.
I guess so.
But if you're ever up this way again, stop by, huh?
Well, I'll do that, though. I'll certainly do that.
Goodbye. And don't forget.
That's what changed my life. Put its mark on me forever. A little talk with an old man about privet and chicory and carrots, and an invitation to come back. I could hardly wait. If I'd known what would come of it. But I didn't know. And I was having the time of my life. I bought a paperback and I started to learn about wildflowers. Purple loosestrife, cinquefoil, bee balm, butter and eggs, vervain. I went crazy. I couldn't wait to see all those wild things growing out of the ground. On my very next day off, me and my bike stopped off at the old man's house. Hi there. I'm back. Remember me?
Yeah, of course. The young man who's interested in chicory.
Yeah, and that's not all. I bought a book. You see? I carry it around with me all the time.
Oh, I have several books on wildflowers. Would you care to have a look?
Hey, would I? Now?
Come inside and I'll get my housekeeper to make us coffee. Or would you prefer a drink of some sort?
Oh, anything at all. Listen, Mr.
Bell. Calvin Bell.
What do you know about hollyhocks?
A little. It's very difficult to raise from seed, although I have succeeded from time to time. Most people buy the seedlings. Here we are. Miss Peters. Mrs. Peters.
Yes, Mr. Bell?
We have a guest.
Well, now, that's nice.
This is Harry Steers from the Bronx. He drove up here on his motorcycle.
Is that so?
We'd be obliged to you for some coffee, Miss Peters.
I'll see to it. Very pleasant meeting you, Mr. Steers.
Oh, same here, Mrs. Peters. Sir, there's something in the book. It's called bee balm. I see it along the road some. Great shade of red.
Some people have tried to domesticate it and called it bergamot. But I don't hold with that. I don't care for the whole idea of taking wild things and taming them. I like to leave things alone. Let them wander the earth as they please. Same thing with animals. I can't tolerate the thought of putting animals in a zoo for people to stare at and laugh at and sometimes tease and feed unnatural things to, which can make them sick. Sometimes it seems as though man has a morbid desire to get his hands on everything that grows and do something with it. Twist it, turn it, take it apart. Make it into something it isn't, something different, more to his personal liking.
Mr. Bell, you shouldn't get yourself all worked up.
Yeah. No, I shouldn't. You're quite right. After all, I'm 90 years old, you know.
Oh, you could have fooled me.
Look here, if you're so interested in wild things, if you really like the country...
Well, I am. I do a lot.
Well, why don't you move up here? Forget about that Bronx place. Move in here with me. I got a big house. There's plenty of room.
Well, what would I do? Could I work around the place, maybe?
Hey, listen. I'm about 20 miles from Seneca. That's where the university is. I'll enroll you there, and you can study to become a botanist. What do you think of that?
Well, it'd cost money. Well, I couldn't sell my bike.
No, there's no need. Keep it. Do you know, Mr. Steers, that there are wildflowers which are endangered? Trailing arbutus, bitter bloom, all the trilliums.
Well, you mean endangered like wild animals?
Precisely. Endangered species. The bluebell, the nodding wake robin, the cardinal flower, the butterfly weed. City people come for a drive in the country, and they think it's great sport to pick the pretty flowers. Of course, little things die within the hour, but what do the predators care? Harry, there are laws on the books against picking endangered wildflowers. Well, with your bike, you could police these people, these hunters.
Arrest them?
Yeah, track them down, report them. Or just tell them to stop and tell them why. Sometimes they'll cooperate if they understand.
Well, I guess I could do that.
Yeah, sure you could. Protect my wild beauties. Yes. I'm too old. I can't go out on the roads and the highways. But you can. What do you say, Harry? Come on, indulge an old man. Will you, Harry?
You're very hard to say no to, Mr. Bell.
Here's your coffee, Mr. Bell.
Say yes, Harry.
There's cream and sugar if you want them.
Wait a minute. I'm going to fetch some superlative brandy. It's been in the cellar for 20 years. And today is the day to open it.
What's Mr. Bell so wrought up about?
Oh, just an idea he's got.
Something to do with his precious wildflowers?
Yeah, that was part of it.
Wanted you to help him save the poor, helpless things,
Sort of. Mrs. Peters, he wants to put me through the university.
Well, if you go to the university, you'll see a painting of Mr. Bell hanging in the front hall. A fine-looking man in his 20s. Tall, handsome, strong-looking. He came into a pile of money when he was young, and first thing he did was give half of it to the university.
To the botany department, I'll bet.
Yep. That's why they hung his picture in the main hall. But now, well, he's an old man, and he has notions. His mind wanders a lot. Remembering things, I suppose.
Well, he seems very okay to me.
Yes, well, I just thought you should be told.
I did it. It was a chance I couldn't pass up. I moved in with Calvin Bell. And come fall, I signed up at the university, majoring in botany. Every morning of my life, I walked to the main hall and saluted the painting of Calvin Bell as a young man. Mrs. Peters was right. He'd been a great-looking guy in his day. Better than 6 feet tall, with bright brown eyes and wavy hair. And he was a nice old coot now. Even if his eyes were dimmed, he walked with a stoop, and most of his wavy brown hair had fallen out. We got along fine. Actually, everything was just about perfect. Till I met that girl. Well, even that was good at the beginning. The trouble came later.
The wildflowers are disappearing. The animals are becoming superfluous. There are those who think that the entire countryside will one day be smothered by lofty apartment buildings, huge shopping centers, and enormous parking lots. The entire earth will be man-made, and God's work will be only incidental. I'll be back shortly with Act 2. What difference will it make to our grandchildren if they never see a wild primrose, or a Johnny Jump-Up, or Chinese candles? Will they know or care that these were flowers that grew freely with no help from man at all? Will it matter if they never have a chance to see an eland, or a kudu, or a dik-dik? Probably it will have no significance whatsoever, because they cannot know what they have missed, what civilization has stolen from them.
This is how I met the girl. It was 8 o'clock in the morning, and the mist hadn't even begun to lift. It was a wonder I saw her at all. She wasn't riding a thumb. She was no hitchhiker. She was just standing there on the far side of the rise that goes over the old abandoned single-track railroad. I was already late for my first class at the university. I can't imagine what made me pull up. You oughtn't to be standing out in the middle of the road like that.
Why not?
Well, you could get run over.
Oh, I don't think so.
Oh, I could have run you down with my bike just now. See, there's a rise here, a little hill where the road goes over the old railway. I always give it the gun not to lose speed and then sort of flip over on the other side. Evil Knievel stuff, you know? That was supposed to be a joke.
Oh.
Well, I don't know why they don't level off this stretch of road. The railroad stopped running years ago. I don't even know where it went to.
To Miller's Ridge.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know that.
Yes, it does.
Well, it would if it was running.
Yes.
You know what? I've never been to Miller's Ridge. I've heard of it, but I've never been there.
Oh, it's just a post office, really, and a few houses. I used to live in one of those houses.
Yeah?
Before I went away to school.
Well, I better be getting to class. I got an exam coming up. Nice talking to you.
Goodbye.
Have a nice day.
Thank you.
And remember what I told you about not standing in the mist like that. Wait till it burns off if you want a summer ride. You wouldn't want to get run down by a bike, would you?
A bike?
A bike, a motorcycle. This baby here.
Oh.
Well, better get on the stick. This exam is very important to me. I'm studying to be a botanist.
That's nice. That's very nice.
Concentrating on wildflowers. Yeah, I'm from the Bronx, New York. I'm hung up on wildflowers. How about that?
I think it's nice.
Oh, you see that? You see that?
Mm-hmm.
That is Queen Anne's lace.
No, it's not.
It certainly is.
It's yarrow.
No, that's Queen Anne's lace.
Look at it.
You know, you're right. It's yarrow.
It's hard to tell unless you're close up. They do look alike. But Queen Anne's lace is pretty, delicate. Yarrow is, well...
Like, more coarse.
More coarse, yes.
You look like Queen Anne's lace.
Me?
Yeah. Pretty and delicate.
You'd better get on to your class at the university.
Yeah, I guess I'd better. See you again, I hope. You're not going to believe this, but I was in love. I was in love. I was a whole different person entirely from the one I'd been. I was nice. I was good. I felt like I wanted to be kind to everybody all over the world. I'm telling you, I sailed right through that exam. The questions were so easy I had to laugh. The professor looked surprised when I was the first one to hand in my book. But I tossed it on his desk, flashed him a smile, and swaggered out. All I wanted was to get back to the girl in the mist. Only there wasn't any mist now. It had all burned off by noon, the way it always does. But there she was, a little way down the slope that led to the old railroad track. Hi there.
Hello, Mr. Sears.
I came back.
Yes, you did, didn't you? I hoped you would.
Oh, what have you been doing all this time?
Oh, just wandering around.
Looking for wildflowers?
Some of the time.
Anybody try to pick you up or anything?
No.
You want to be careful of that kind of thing, you know?
Why?
Why? Well, the way things are. Don't you read the papers about what happens?
I don't read the papers.
All kinds of things happen. But then, you weren't looking to be picked up, were you?
I don't think so.
What were you looking to do?
I wanted to get to Miller's Ridge.
Were you going to walk?
I guess so.
You want to see a family, is that it? Or are you married?
I'm not married. Not yet.
Oh, that's good. It's your family you want to see, right?
I just want to see the house. Because I used to live there.
Oh, you're sentimental about it, right?
Oh, yes. Very sentimental.
Yeah, I can empathize with that. I really can. I was born in a terrible house. A really awful, dinky, unattractive. But I've always thought that when I make some money, I'm going to buy that house. Gruesome as it was, I'll never really forget it.
This house isn't gruesome. It's pretty.
Well, what do you say? You want me to take you there?
Would you?
Oh, I'd do a lot more than that for you. So, hop on. Right here. Now, if you kind of hitch up your skirt...
Oh.
You really ought to be wearing jeans, but...
Oh, my goodness.
What, that scare you? That's how you jump a bike. Come on. Put your arms around my waist.
Should I?
Well, if you don't want to fall off, you should. That's it. So, off we go into the wild blue whatever. She didn't grab hold of me like some girls would that have never ridden tandem on a bike before. I could hardly feel her arms around me. I had to look down and see her hands clasped together and her thumbs tucked inside my belt. Every so often I'd turn around and see this sweet face behind me. The sweetest face I'd ever seen in my whole life. Innocent and lovable. Like a wildflower. Where's this house you want to see?
You keep going until you see a big oak tree. A really enormous one. Oh, there it is. See it?
Oh, yeah. It must be 900 years old.
You go left just beyond it. There's a dirt road.
Dirt road? I didn't know they had those anymore.
Right here. Turn left.
Gotcha. Hold on.
You keep going a little ways. The house will be on the right. It's a very small house, but I'll know it as soon as I see it. Oh, there. There it is.
Little white one?
Yes, that's it.
Cute. Hey, it's cute. There's your house. Well, what now?
You've been so nice. I hate to ask you, but would you do one more thing for me?
Well, I guess I'd do anything for you.
Would you ask the people in there if they'd let me come in? Just to look around, sort of.
Well, why don't you ask them?
I'm afraid to. They don't know me.
Well, they don't know me either. I don't know them. Well, you come right down to it. I don't really know you. I don't even know your name.
It's Anne. Anne Campbell.
It's a pretty name. Anne Campbell.
I'm glad you like it.
Do you? Oh, and that's a pretty house. You know, I like all that, fancy stuff. Makes it look like a valentine.
Oh, all that fancy stuff is carved out of wood.
Live and learn, right?
Carpenter's Gothic. That's what they call this kind of house.
Looks like lace, you know?
They used to call it the Lace House when I lived here.
Anne Campbell of the Lace House. Queen Anne's Lace House.
You're teasing me.
No, no. No, I'm not. You look like a queen to me. A little young queen.
Well, are you going to ask the people if I can come in?
Yeah, I guess so.
It's important to me.
Well, then I'll do it. Now, you stay right there.
Oh, thank you very much. I really appreciate this.
Anybody home? I don't know if there's anybody home.
Oh, please try.
Is anybody home here?
What do you want?
Oh, excuse me, ma'am.
Who are you?
My name's Harry Steers. I live with Mr. Calvin Bell, the old gentleman that
Now, what are you doing here?
It's not for me. I got somebody with me. She used to live here.
Well, plenty of people used to live here, plenty.
Yeah, and she'd like
but
to...
not for long.
To come in, yeah.
They all move out.
If you don't mind...
And that's what we're going to do. Move out.
She slammed the door in my face. I felt terrible. Anne must have heard the whole thing. I wanted to put my arms around her and hold her and tell her not to mind. We'd come back some other time. But just as I was figuring out what to say and how to say it, I looked at the spot where I'd left her, and she wasn't there. She'd gone. I looked all up and down the dirt road. I asked everybody I could find, had they seen a young girl? Nobody had. Finally, it was getting dark, and I got on my bike and went home. right up to Mr. Bell's room. I knew he'd be lying down. He always did before dinner. I didn't even knock on his door. I went right in. Mr. Bell?
Harry.
Excuse me, but I got to tell you what happened today.
You passed the examination.
Oh, that, yeah, sure. But, Mr. Bell, I fell in love with a girl. Now, don't laugh. It's a fact.
Oh, I wouldn't laugh.
I picked her up on my bike. She wanted to go to Miller's Ridge.
Miller's Ridge?
Yeah, to visit a house there. She used to live in it. It's the prettiest house you ever saw. They used to call it the Lace House, she said.
The Lace House?
Yeah. Now, the girl, her name is Anne.
Anne?
I call her Queen Anne of the Lace House because she reminds me of Queen Anne's lace, so soft and dainty, and I love her, Mr. Bell. I want to marry her, and I'm going to. Mr. Bell?
Dinner's about ready, Mr. Bell.
I think he fell asleep, Mrs. Peters.
I've got the table all set. Oh, my. Oh, my. He isn't sleeping, Mr. Steers. He's dead.
Times have changed. Not many people stop to pick up strangers on the road anymore. And I've noticed that people seldom strike up conversations with strangers these days, pass the time of day, or exchange pleasantries. For that matter, you hardly ever see people smile at each other anymore, unless they know each other pretty well. Yes, times have changed, and it's sad. I'll be back with Act 3 shortly. There's no denying it. Fear has come to pervade our lives, and with fear comes suspicion. With suspicion comes hostility. And when hostility takes over, violence is sure to follow, until peace and trust are things of the past, lost to us, as though they had never existed, as though we no longer know what they mean, what they ever were.
That really shook me up. Calvin Bell dying like that right when I was telling him about Anne and me being in love with her and wanting to marry her. After we buried him, a lawyer came to the house and read his will. He'd left his house and a bunch of money to Mrs. Peters, and something I certainly never expected, quite a few $1,000s to me. Mrs. Peters said she'd sell the house eventually, but till she did, I could certainly go on living there. And so I did. And I kept on going to the university to learn about wildflowers. And every morning, on the way, I looked for Anne. And every afternoon on the way back. Sometimes, I think I saw her coming toward me out of the mist. Other times, I'd look down at that old single-track railway and think I saw her standing on the roadbed or sitting on the slope to one side or the other. But I never really saw her. Not even on my way home when there was no mist and I could see everything quite clearly. One day, I took it into my head to go to the Lace House at Miller's Ridge. There was a sign in front of the house, and it said, "For sale, Agent Nicholas Vaughn." I went to see Mr. Vaughn.
Yes, sir?
You Mr. Vaughn?
Yes, sir. What can I do for you?
Well, I want to see about buying a house in Miller's Ridge.
Oh? Any particular house you have in mind?
A little white house, carpenter's Gothic style. Someone told me it used to be called the Lace House.
Yeah, I believe it was once called the Lace House. Charming place. Needs a few things done to it, but it certainly...
Well, anything it needs, I'll have it done. I want it.
Well, aren't you curious about the price?
Well, I've got a little money. Calvin Bell left me some money. I'm Harry Steers.
Oh, yes. Well, the house has been empty for some time now.
I want it.
It's had quite a few owners. I'd have to inquire about the asking price.
I want that house.
Mr. Steers, naturally I'd be pleased to make the sale, but do you mind telling me why you're so set on buying this particular house?
I want it.
Well, frankly, Mr. Steers, that house has been, well, sort of a jinx. Everyone's enchanted with the house when they first see it, but once they've moved in, they take a dislike to it. They tell strange tales about strange goings-on.
Like what?
Oh, sobbing in the night, restless footsteps on the stairs. Oh, I know, those are the standard complaints when a house has the reputation of being haunted, but everyone who's lived there said the same thing. I just thought you should know.
I want it. Did I know what I was doing? No. I just went ahead and did it. I moved into the house and waited for something to happen. It's true, I did hear very strange noises sometimes. Like slow, heavy footsteps. And a kind of crying sometimes. Low, strangled sobs is what they sounded like.
No.
But none of these things bothered me. They were a kind of company for me. Because I was lonely and waiting. Then, one morning, I was riding my bike to school, and all of a sudden, out of the mist... Anne, it's you. It is you, isn't it?
Hello, Harry.
Well, it's been almost a year.
Almost.
But you look just the same.
So do you.
You know, I've been looking for you. Every morning, every afternoon, too. Well, sometimes I thought I saw you, but I never did, really.
I saw you.
You did? Why didn't you ever stop me?
I don't know.
I just can't believe, finally, after all this time... Look, you still want to go to Miller's Ridge?
Oh, yes.
To the Lace House?
Yes, I do.
Okay, I'll take you. Hop on.
Will I be able to go inside?
You bet you will.
Are you sure?
I'm positive. You know why?
No. Tell me.
Because it's my house now.
Really? You mean it?
I bought it.
Why did you do that?
I don't know. I thought maybe I'd find you there, I guess. Nah, it's not it. I thought I'd find you somewhere, like here, standing in the mist, and I'd take you to the house, and I'd take you inside and tell you how much I love you. And then we get married there. You all set?
Yes.
So, off we go into the wherever. Have you got any idea how I felt when I pulled up in front of the Lace House, helped her off the bike, and led her up to the front door, took out the key, unlocked and opened it? Her eyes opened about a mile wide when we stepped into the front hall. And then she started running all over the place, touching everything. You'd think I'd let her into paradise. After a while, I left the house and went over to see Mrs. Peters. I don't know if Anne even knew I was gone.
Why, Mr. Steers, and how are you? Well, you're looking splendid, I must say.
Well, that's what I am, Mrs. Peters, just splendid.
Oh, pardon the mess around here. I've sold the house, you know.
Oh, no, I didn't know.
Oh, yes. Mr. Vaughn got me a real nice price for it. Oh, but my heavens, cleaning out all that stuff that's accumulated, you've no idea. All that clutter.
Well, it wasn't like Mr. Bell to throw anything away.
Oh, true word was never spoke. Well, now, and you, how are you getting along in your little lace house?
Well, that's what I came over to talk to you about, Mrs. Peters.
Oh, now, you're not happy there. What is it? the ghost's been bothering you?
Well, not a bit.
I always thought that was a lot of talk.
Mrs. Peters, when I bought the lace house, I didn't really know exactly why I was doing it.
Got it cheap, that's what I figured.
I bought it for a girl.
A girl? Why, Mr. Steers, I didn't even know you had a girl.
Well, I didn't. I just met her on my way to the university, and then one more time on my way back. That was almost a year ago. She wanted to visit the lace house. She used to live there, so I took her. But the woman who lived in it wouldn't let us in. Screamed at us, as a matter of fact. And when I went back to speak to Anne, to sort of comfort her, she was gone. But Mrs. Peters, by that time, I was in love with her. I mean, in love, really in love.
Well, for mercy's sake, tell me about it. My gracious.
Oh, she's just wonderful, Mrs. Peters, like a wildflower.
Young girl, huh?
Yeah, she's young.
Family?
Oh, I don't know. She didn't say.
Never been married before?
Oh, no, I don't think so.
Well, long as she loves you.
Well, she didn't exactly say that either.
Well, now, don't you think that...
Mrs. Peters, I love her enough for both of us. And when I talk about the wedding and everything, it's what I want to talk to you about, the wedding.
Oh, I love a wedding.
Now, will you come to it?
Oh, you just try and keep me away.
And if you'd sort of help plan it, I think Anne would appreciate it.
That's her name, huh? Anne.
Anne Campbell, yeah. Look, we thought, I thought we should sort of rehearse it. I mean, isn't that usually what people do?
I believe so, yeah.
We could do that this afternoon, if that's all right with you. This is the anniversary of the day I met her for the first time. A year ago, September 15th. And today, the same day, 1 year later, I meet her again. It just seems, well, appropriate. So is it okay with you?
Well, I guess so. Yes, it's all right.
Oh, thank you, Mrs. Peters.
I hope you're doing the right thing. I really hope you are. Now, I think the minister should stand here in front of that fireplace. Now, let me pretend I'm the minister for now. Harry, now you stand on my left. Now, I think that's correct.
Right, okay.
And Anne, would you like to make an entrance down the stairs? What do you think?
Whatever you say.
It's such an informal wedding. Maybe if you just come in from the dining room. Now, how would that be?
All right.
And you walk up to the fireplace and stand just to my right. That'll be the minister's right. You want to try that, dear?
All right.
Now, the door from the dining room will be open just as it is now. All right, dear. Now, you come in now.
All right.
That's it, dear. Now stand right about there, and then the minister starts to say those beautiful words about being gathered here in the sight of God and so on to unite this man and this woman in holy matrimony.
No.
A voice came from the foot of the stairs. I looked up, and so did Mrs. Peters. But Anne was already looking at where the voice was coming from. She was looking at... a man. Young, tall, handsome, with wavy brown hair. It was Calvin Bell. I knew him from the painting. Calvin Bell when he was a young man. And he walked over to my little Queen Anne, and she put her hand in his, and they disappeared together.
There's no explaining these things, Harry.
Well, you saw him too, didn't you, Mrs. Peters?
Oh, yes. Nobody would believe me if I told them, so I'm not going to try. It'll be between you and me, Harry.
Yeah, that's the best way, I think.
I brought you something I found in the attic. It's a newspaper clipping. I'm going to read it to you, and you can make up your own mind. It says, "The morning train to Miller's Ridge was derailed yesterday due to mechanical failure. Many of the passengers were injured, but none fatally, with the exception of Miss Anne Campbell, who was returning to Miller's Ridge in order to marry Mr. Calvin Bell." The date on the newspaper, Harry, is September 15, 1912.
I put the house up for sale. I'm back in the Bronx now, teaching botany in one of the high schools. I haven't had even one offer for the Lace house. People think it's haunted. And I guess they're right.
I shall make no statement about haunted houses, either for or against, though there are those who claim they have lived with ghosts and even taken their pictures. But if the Lace house is haunted by the ghosts of Anne Campbell and Calvin Bell, why, then it must be a very happy place indeed. I'll be back shortly.
I have never once heard of a ghost harming anyone. Never. Which is more than I can say for so-called real people. One of these days, someone is going to buy the Lace house. And if he is of a calm and equable temperament, he may find it a most pleasant place to live. And he'll never lack for company either. Our cast included Russell Horton, Jada Rowland, Carol Teitel, and Robert Dryden. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown.
E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams. I'm E.G. Marshall. Welcome to the sound of suspense, to the fear you can hear. A psychiatrist once said that the human brain is like a spider's web. Together all the strands are strong, but taken one by one, each can easily be broken, and the web destroyed. There are countless cases of human brains broken and smashed in just this way, step by step, strand by strand. And I can't help wondering, is this what happened to young Jennifer Brady? Our mystery drama, Honeymoon with Death, was written especially for the Radio Mystery Theater by George Lothar and stars Lois Nettleton. What makes Jennifer Brady think she's going out of her mind? What strange thing happened that couldn't have happened? Perhaps we can find out together.
It was a wonderful honeymoon, Howard. I can't tell you how much I enjoyed it. Adored it. But you know something? Howard, you know something?
What, Jennifer? What?
It's wonderful to be back home. These last 10 days driving back from San Francisco, I kept thinking, when, oh, when will I be back in my own bedroom, in my own bed, in my own little old New York brownstone house? Oh, I shouldn't have said that, should I?
What? Said what, Jennifer?
Am I bothering you with all my chatter, Howard?
Bothering me? How could you possibly bother me, sweetheart? I'm just trying to catch up with all that mail Margaret left on the living room table. Oh, hey, I haven't seen that negligee before.
I saved it for our homecoming night. Like? I can see a whole month of honeymooning hasn't changed you a bit.
When I've got a bride as beautiful and sexy as you, our whole life is going to be a honeymoon. Now, tell me, what was it you shouldn't have said?
What? Oh, I've forgotten.
Something about your own little old New York brownstone house.
Oh, well, what I meant, it's not just mine anymore. It's yours now, too.
And your sister Maggie's. You both inherited this old brownstone from your father. Though I must say I think that we, have the better of the bargain.
What do you mean?
I much prefer this top floor apartment, don't you?
Oh, yes. Luckily, Maggie always preferred the downstairs part. No climbing stairs.
Well, stairs won't bother me. I'll take them 2, 3 at a time, knowing that you're waiting at the top of them.
Oh, darling.
Well, you better finish brushing your hair. I'll finish that mail in the living room.
Howard?
Yes?
About the car.
Well, what about it?
You think it's safe parked out in the street?
One night won't hurt.
I'd feel awful if anything happened to it. You know, sometimes on our honeymoon trip, I couldn't help wondering which you loved more, your new car or me. Oh, well, I guess one night in the street is safe enough. You can find a garage tomorrow. Howard, you locked the car. You have the keys, haven't you? Howard? Howard, can't you hear me? I asked you. Howard! God! Maggie! Maggie, oh my God! Maggie, come up here! Howard's been murdered! Maggie, Howard's dead! He's got a knife sticking out of his chest and blood! Maggie! Maggie, where are you? Maggie, help me! Help me! Where is she? Where are you? Help! I need help! I need help! Help me! Somebody help me! Help! My husband's been murdered! Jennifer! Stop it! Stop it! Maggie, oh, where are you? Where? You ain't come back into the house out in the street like this with your nightgown. Maggie, it's Howard! Jennifer, come back into the house! You're intense. No, Howard. He's dead. He's up there sitting in a chair with a knife in his chest. Jennifer, please, now stop it. Stop it. Come back in now. Come on. Come on. I'll phone Dr. Sullivan. I don't need Dr. Sullivan. I tell you, Howard. Howard. All right, now. The neighbors haven't heard or seen anything. Now, look, Jen. You sit here on the couch and try to hold on. I'll phone Dr. Sullivan. Maggie! Howard is dead. He's up there in our apartment. Dead. Jennifer, please, now try to control yourself. There's no one named Howard here. What do you mean? No one named Howard? You know Howard Lansing, my husband, the man I've been on a honeymoon with for a whole month and home just a few hours ago. And stop looking at me like that. All right. All right. Now, look, Jennifer, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'll go upstairs, and I'll see if anybody's there. Howard's there. All right. If this Howard is there, and if he's dead, then I'll phone the police. All right? Yes. But if he isn't, then I'm going to phone Dr. Sullivan, have him come right over. Now, that agreed? What's that? That's just the front door bell, Jennifer. Oh,
Yes, officer?
Officer Helmets, ma'am. Ed Helmets. Anything wrong?
No.
What do you mean, no? My husband's been murdered. He's upstairs dead, a knife in his chest.
Jennifer, please. Officer, there is no one upstairs, dead or alive.
Well, then what was all the screaming about? I'm walking the beat just up at the corner, and I hear all this screaming.
It's nothing. Believe me, it's nothing.
Officer, will you do me a favor?
Oh, sure, if I can.
Would you go upstairs, please, and see for yourself?
Officer, my sister is a highly emotional woman.
Please? Would you please?
Sure. Make you feel any better? Sure.
Jen, what am I going to do with you? You know what Dr. Sullivan said.
Dr. Sullivan?
He said if you had another one of these attacks, you were going to have to be...
I am not having an attack. I am as sane as you are. Don't look at me like that, Maggie. I am. Well, officer?
Well, there's nobody up there, ma'am.
Nobody. But there is somebody. My husband, Howard. He's sitting in a chair with a knife in his chest, blood all over.
No, ma'am.
But that's impossible. Impossible, I tell you. It's impossible. I couldn't.
Maybe you want to see for yourself, huh? I'll go up with you.
Officer, thank you very much, but there's no need.
I do want to see for myself, will you?
Sure.
I'll come with you. No, on second thought, what's the use? I mean, I'm really very tired of this sort of thing.
What sort of thing?
Never mind, officer. Just, you go ahead.
Now, is this the room where you, thought that, huh?
I can't believe it. It's impossible.
You can see for yourself.
5 minutes ago. 5 minutes ago, I tell you. In this chair. He was sitting back in this chair, and there was a knife sticking out of his chest. The mail was scattered all over the floor.
Mail?
We'd just come back from our honeymoon. We'd only been in the house a few hours, and Maggie had left all the mail that had collected for a month on the table, on this table.
Well, you can see, ma'am, no mail.
And blood. There was blood on the carpet, some of the mail.
Well, no mail, no blood. You don't mind me saying so. I think you... Well, maybe you had a dream, a nightmare, huh?
Please. I'm not out of my mind.
I didn't say you were.
No, but everybody else does, and I'm not. I'm not.
It don't mean you're out of your mind because you had a bad dream.
It was no dream. It happened. I tell you, it happened. Howard was here in the living room reading the mail. I was talking to him from the bedroom. I had just taken a bath, and I was brushing my hair. And... Wait. I know. I hadn't emptied the tub. The water's still there. It must be. I'll show you. I don't understand it.
Tub's bone dry, ma'am. Hasn't been used. Now, not tonight, anyway.
His clothes. Howard's clothes. He'd empty his suitcases and put his clothes in the closet. His suitcases, too.
Just ladies' clothes. Yours, ma'am?
Yes.
Now, hey, don't cry. Hey, look, this dream you had.
It was no dream.
Okay, so maybe you imagined...
I didn't imagine anything. Do you imagine a husband? Do you imagine a month-long honeymoon? Do you imagine a man in a chair with a knife in his chest?
Oh, I got to admit, you'd have to have a darn strong imagination to... But they tell me that's what artists got.
Artists?
Oh, you are an artist, aren't you? That painting there on the easel?
Oh, that's just a hobby. I haven't touched that since I left on my honeymoon.
No?
What do you mean?
How long does it take paint to dry?
Oh, a day, thereabouts.
Well, this paint's still wet. Plenty wet. Look at my finger. Oh, now, don't start crying again. A woman crying, it makes me feel awful.
I'm sorry.
Look, whether you dreamed it or imagined it...
I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah, well...
I know I've had spells.
Spells? What kind of spells?
Oh, I've always been high-strung, nervous, you know.
Well, I don't know if I know. I mean, me, well, I'm the other way. I haven't got a nerve in my whole body.
I envy you. You've never been to a psychiatrist.
A shrink? No, me. You ask me, anybody who goes to a shrink ought to have his head examined. That's a joke. You get it?
Yes.
Well, then laugh a little bit. Come on, do you good.
I can't.
No, of course you can't. I'm sorry. I should have known better than to even try and make a joke. You go to a psychiatrist, huh?
Yes. Not regularly. Sometimes.
What times?
Oh, when I sort of get all keyed up and start having crying spells and feeling so sad I could die.
Well, what's to feel sad about? Chick like, excuse me, a pretty girl like you with everything in life to live for. What's to be sad?
I don't know. Some people feel sad for no reason at all. They just suffer from depressions.
Oh, excuse me?
Oh, yes, ma'am?
Jennifer, Dr. Sullivan is on his way over. I just phoned him.
All right.
And, officer, thank you very much for trying to help.
Oh, not at all, ma'am. Not at all. Glad to do what I could.
I'll show you out.
Oh, that's okay.
No. Good, I'll come with you. I'll be just a minute, Jen. Officer, I wanted to ask you, you don't have to say anything about this, do you? I mean, put it in your report or anything?
Oh, no. There's been no damage or anything like that. She get this way often, your sister?
Well, often enough. She hallucinates, you see.
Huh? Come again?
Hallucinates? It means, well, just what you saw. She was totally convinced there was a murdered man up there. Her husband, no less. Well, you saw for yourself. Husband. Jennifer's never even had a boyfriend.
A cute doll? Pretty girl like that?
Well, it's all part of her condition. She's afraid of people. Men, especially. I wish she could become less afraid, more outgoing. If these spells of hers get any worse, she may lose her mind altogether.
Oh, say, I hope not. A sweet kid like that, I sure hope not.
I know, so do I. Well, looks like we've had a little shower. Street's wet.
It was drizzling a little when I came in. Well, good night, ma'am, and if you need...
Wait! The car! The car!
The car? What car?
Howard's. The little red sports car he was so fond of. It isn't there. But it was. I know it was.
Officer, thanks again, and good night.
Good night, ladies.
Jen, dear, until Dr. Sullivan gets here, I think you should lie down and rest.
I don't want to lie down.
Well, then just stretch out on the couch and I'll make some tea for us. Well, that's probably Dr. Sullivan now. Oh. Yes?
Excuse me, ma'am. I just wanted to get something straight.
Yes.
Your sister, did she say... Oh, ma'am.
Yes, officer.
Did you say that car was a little sports car?
Yes. Why?
Well, nothing, only there was one parked out there in the street.
What do you mean?
Oh, we've had a shower, see, and I happened to notice the street's dry in one spot. There must have been a car standing there while it was raining. A small car.
Officer, please don't make things worse for me or for my sister. I mean, there's nothing unusual about a car being parked in the street.
No, only...
Good night, officer.
Funny, though. Funny.
What exactly is it that strikes Officer Helmut as funny? Perhaps we'll know when I return shortly with Act 2. Has a horrible murder been done? Or is Jennifer Brader losing her mind? Did she find the body of her husband, Howard Lansing, seated in the living room with a knife in his chest? Or did she imagine the frightful scene? Is she married? Was there a honeymoon? Oh, here's young patrolman Ed Helmet at the front door of the brownstone house where Jennifer and her sister Maggie live. And it's the following morning.
Oh, it's you.
Yeah.
Well, won't you come in?
Thanks.
Thank you for, what you did last night.
Oh, just doing my job, Mrs. I don't know what to call you.
I don't know what to call myself. I don't know if I'm Mrs. Howard Lansing or Miss Jennifer Brady. Not after last night.
Well, suppose I just call you Jennifer. You can call me Ed. Ed Helmet.
What are you doing here?
Well, I'm off duty, see. I'm on the 4 to midnight beat, and I just thought I'd drop around and see how you were doing.
Oh, well, I'm all right.
You mind if I ask you a couple of questions, Jennifer?
No. It's your job, isn't it?
Well, yes and no. Yes and no. The fact being off duty now, I'm kind of asking these questions on my own. You know what I mean?
I don't. Not really.
Well, I tell you, that car of your husband's...
If I didn't just imagine a husband.
Yeah, well, if you didn't, that car of his, that little red sports car you mentioned, well, there was a car parked out front last night, and it was a little sports car.
If it wasn't there when you left...
Well, the space it left. It rained, remember, while the car was standing at the curb?
Oh, yes.
So at least you were right about there being a car. I mean, you didn't dream that up.
It could have been anyone's car, as Maggie said.
Oh, that's for sure. Still, though, it could have been a car belonging to a guy named Howard Lansing. Couldn't it? Couldn't it?
Why are you doing this?
Come again?
Well, you know that I'm not well. That all my life I've had nervous problems. Oh, I can't believe it, but I must have dreamed it all up. Howard Lansing, marrying him, going on a honeymoon across country and back, coming home last night, finding him murdered. I must have imagined it all. Maggie says I did. Dr. Sullivan says I did. So why are you...
You know something? I don't know. Maybe it's because, Well,
what?
I kind of like you, and, me, I didn't get much sleep either last night, thinking about this whole thing, thinking about you, and, I'm kind of wishing I could, straighten things out for you.
That's very sweet of you, officer. But...
Call me Ed.
Ed? It's sweet of you. But you're wasting your time. I'm mentally...
Oh, come on now, don't cry. You had a bad dream, that's all. A nightmare.
Oh, it was more than that, much more than that. When you dream something, you wake up and you know it was a dream. I'm still living it. I remember the ceremony, the hotels we stayed at, the things we did. Even Howard constantly fussing with his new car.
Yeah, there's that car again. What do you mean, fussing with it?
Oh, just that he was always polishing it, checking this and that. Fussing, that's all.
And you remember all about the ceremony and the hotels and like that?
It's all as vivid as if it had actually happened.
Tell me about the wedding. Who married you?
Nobody married me, Ed. I imagined...
Okay. So where did you imagine you got married?
A little town in Jersey. By a justice of the peace.
What little town? What JP?
I don't know. It was night and we just pulled off the Garden State Parkway. Howard had said he knew a place, a justice of the peace.
Okay. What about hotels?
Well... I remember we stayed at the Ambassador in Chicago and the Statler in St. Louis, the Beverly in Los Angeles, and Oh, that you, Maggie? Yes, Jen. Well, any calls? Well, Oh.
Hello, Miss Brady.
Aren't you the policeman who was here last night?
Yeah, that's right. You're wondering what I'm doing here now, huh?
Well, yes, I am.
I just dropped in to see how Jen was doing, that's all.
Jen?
Excuse me, Miss Brady. I was never much for being formal.
Yes, obviously. Have you been here long?
No, 10 minutes or so.
Well, I don't mean to hurry you, officer, but Jennifer and I have an appointment in 1 hour with her psychiatrist, Dr. Sullivan.
Say, would that be Dr. Martin Sullivan on Park Avenue?
No, Dr. Arnold Sullivan on East 82nd.
Oh.
You seem terribly interested in Jennifer's psychiatrist.
Me? Oh, no. I just ask a lot of questions. I trained myself.
You trained yourself?
You're going to laugh. I know you're going to laugh, but would you believe I want to be a detective someday?
Of course I believe it. Why shouldn't I?
Ask my sergeant. He thinks I'm something else, wanting to be a detective. Laughs himself silly.
Well, I certainly wouldn't laugh. I think it's commendable.
You think I could make a detective?
Of course you could.
Well, say, that's a real shot in the arm. I mean, someone like you thinking that someone like me, just a cop and new on the force at that.
As I said, officer, I don't like to hurry you, but
I'm going, Miss Brady. Going right now. Nice seeing you again, Jen.
I'll show you out.
Oh, that's okay. Some detective I'd make if I couldn't find the front door. Why,
Jennifer, would you answer that, please?
Of course. Oh, my God.
Jennifer? What is it?
Help me. Oh, my God, Maggie. Ed, help me.
What?
He's there. At the front door, he's there. Howard.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is something... What's all the trouble?
You're dead. Murdered.
What?
Last night after we got home from our honeymoon, I found you in your chair, stabbed to death.
Last night, honey, stabbed. Maggie, what is this?
Jen's having another one of her spells, Howard, that's all.
Oh, I see.
What do you mean you see? You see what?
What, just... Excuse me, who are you?
My name is Ed Helmut, Officer Ed Helmut. I'm a cop.
A cop?
Howard, I'll explain later what went on here last night.
I don't understand this. I don't understand it. You're talking to Howard as if nothing had happened.
Jennifer, nothing did.
He exists. He's standing right here. He exists. And last night you acted as if you'd never heard of him. As if there was no such person as Howard Lansing.
I don't remember.
You did.
Jennifer, stop it. Now, stop it. Control yourself. Officer, you were leaving.
There's some questions I'd better get the answers to
Officer,
first.
this is a private matter. It's a family affair.
Well, now that depends on how you look at it. Are you Howard Lansing?
Of course I'm Howard Lansing. Why do you ask such a question?
Howard, Jen had one of her mental lapses last night. She imagined that you and she were married.
We were.
And that you'd just come back from your honeymoon.
Oh, good Lord.
And then during this hallucination, she thought she had found you with a knife in your chest, dead.
Oh, no, poor little Jenny.
She ran screaming into the street. Luckily, I got her back into the house before she caused a disturbance, although this officer did hear the screams and came to investigate.
Well, did you call Dr. Sullivan?
Of course I did. He came over, but there wasn't much he could do except order some new sleeping pills. We're seeing him in his office at 11 this morning.
Just one more question, Mr. Lansing.
Yes?
Just where do you fit in here? I mean, who are you? To the family, I mean.
I'm Miss Brady's fiancée, Margaret, not Jennifer.
Oh. I see.
No, I'm afraid you don't see. Not all of it. Look, since we've gone this far, you might as well know the rest of it. Jennifer has always had a thing for Howard. She's not jealous that he's going to marry me and not her. Don't think that. But the whole situation has been a severe strain on her, a very severe strain.
Almost certainly that's why her hallucination last night took the form that it did, thinking she'd been married to me and all the rest of it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, I'll be on my way. Hey, now, you take it easy, huh? And me, if it's okay with you, I'm going to be in touch. I'll see my way out. Hey, Mr. Lansing, you have got a little red sports car.
Well, yes, that's it, parked at the curb. Why?
Well, Jen, Miss Brady, she seemed to make a big thing out of it. On the honeymoon that didn't happen, I mean.
Big thing?
Well, what I mean, she said you were always fussing with it, polishing it, and like that. Sure looks as if you do.
Well, I do. I'm a sports car buff, if you want to know.
I wish I could own a car like that, but on a cop salary. You had it long?
2 or 3 months.
Oh. How many miles you put on it?
You ask a lot of questions.
Just interested, that's all.
Close to 10,000, I think.
Well, that's a lot of miles in 3 months.
I do a lot of driving.
Your business, huh?
No, I don't work. Don't have to. Just like to drive. Short trips, but they add up.
Oh, boy. If I had a car like that, I'd go for long trips, like cross country.
Well, maybe someday I will, but so far I haven't had the interest.
Yeah. Well, see ya.
Fine.
Where is she?
Upstairs, changing for appointment with Sullivan.
I don't like this, Maggie.
You don't like it. You don't like it. All the stupid things walking in here when that cop was here.
I know he was here. If it comes to that, why did you let her run screaming into the street last night?
Howard, come to your senses. Was there any other way?
No, I guess there wasn't.
I'm afraid we're going to have to move faster than we planned.
Why?
That young cop's pretty nosy. Come over here to the window.
What?
Look, down there.
What the hell is he doing?
He's measuring the size of your car from front to back wheels.
What's he doing that for?
I don't know. He's doing it. I don't like it. No, Howard, we won't commit Jennifer now.
Well, if we don't commit her, what will we do with her?
Kill her.
Clearly, Maggie and Howard faked his murder. But how could they have managed it? And how will they kill Jennifer? We'll return shortly with Act 3. Were you as shocked as I to discover that Howard Lansing is very much alive? I can't fathom it. Can you? No more than, 10 minutes could have passed between the time Jennifer saw him slumped in that chair with a knife in his chest, blood all over everything, and the time Officer Helmut entered the room to find no body, no blood, nothing to indicate that a murder had taken place. It would have been impossible for Howard Lansing and Margaret Brady to restore perfect order to that room in so short a time. Even to Howard's clothes and luggage no longer in the closet. A bone-dry bathtub. And the rest of it. Got me puzzled. Well, we'll soon have the answer as we rejoin Maggie and Howard.
Kill her.
There's nothing else we can do.
Oh, we can do what we planned originally. Commit her.
It won't work. Not now.
Why not?
Your answer is right out there in the street. The cop was just finished measuring your car.
Now, what's he doing?
Quite obviously getting into your car.
I think I better get out there and see what he's up to.
I was just about to suggest it, Howard.
Officer, what are you doing in my car?
Oh, say, Mr. Lansing. Say, I hope you don't mind. Like I told you, I want to own a little sports car like this myself someday, and, I just couldn't help sitting behind the wheel. Say, I hope you don't mind.
As a matter of fact, I do mind.
Oh. Well, say, please excuse me. I just kind of flip over a car like this, that's all.
Isn't that why you were measuring the wheelbase?
Measuring? Oh, that.
Yes, that. I saw you from the window.
Yeah. Well, now, I tell you, I want to get to be a detective someday, see? And I'm studying, like, fingerprints and stains and like that, and measuring. Now, measuring things is important, very important. You'd be surprised how important measuring things is. So I take every opportunity to measure things.
Yes. Well...
Like last night. Were you here last night?
No, I was not here last night.
Funny.
What's funny?
Well, last night, Jennifer, Miss Brady, she said a car, in fact, your car, was parked outside here. Only it wasn't. I mean, when we looked, no car.
Well, I just told you that...
Yeah, but there had been a car. You see, it had rained, and the car was standing out here during the rain, and left a dry space in the street. And I measured that, too. couldn't help myself. It's become a habit, you know?
Well, I fail to see what this has to do with
Identical. Same wheelbase. That car and this one.
Look, there are probably thousands of sports cars in New York.
I'm not saying it was the same car. Oh, no, nothing like that. I'm only saying the wheelbase was the same.
It's very interesting, I'm sure, but if you don't mind now,
Just leaving when you came out. I apologize if I upset you getting in behind the wheel without permission.
That's all right.
Yeah. Well, goodbye. Oh, by the way...
Now what?
You got 11,243 and 9/10 miles on the speedometer. 1,000 or so more than you said you had. I just thought you'd like to know.
Thank you. I'm deeply grateful for that information. He is up to something, Maggie.
What else is new?
He checked the mileage on the car.
What of it?
Over 11,000 miles. I could easily have driven from here to L.A. and back, which I did.
Mileage shows only how far a car went, not where. I'm not worried about your car. I'm worried about him nosing around. The quicker we kill Jennifer, the better.
Now, look, I didn't bargain for anything like murder.
Neither did I, but that's the way it is.
How will you do it?
How will we do it? Sleeping pills. An overdose, that's the simplest.
When?
Well, tonight. Why wait? Oh, Jennifer. Oh, ready for our appointment with Dr. Sullivan, I see. Yes, I'll just get my coat. Howard?
Yes, Jennifer.
I'm sorry if I've caused you any trouble.
Oh, now...
I'm losing my mind, Howard. I must be. Marrying you, our honeymoon trip across country, returning last night, finding you dead. It was all so real. So real. And yet it wasn't. It never happened. And... oh, Howard, I just can't go on like this much longer.
You won't, Jennifer. Believe me, you won't.
You sure of that? Did you check all marriage license applications? And there's no Howard Lansing and Jennifer Brady, huh?
Call for you at Beverly Hotel, Los Angeles.
Right there. Okay, sorry I troubled you. Thanks. Hello? Yeah. Yeah, how far back did you check your guest register? And there's no Mr. and Mrs. Howard Lansing.
Hey, Ed, another one. The ambassador of Chicago. You going on a trip or something, man?
Thanks. Officer Ed Helmut. Yeah, I think I can tell you what you're going to tell me before you tell me. No record of a Mr. and Mrs. Howard Lansing. Yeah. Well, thanks. There's got to be a clue. There's got to be.
She's asleep.
How many pills did you give her?
Enough. What's the matter, Howard? Why that look on your face?
I'm a murderer. I'm just beginning to realize it. I am a murderer.
Not yet, Howard. She won't be dead for a while.
How can you be so calm? You frighten me, Maggie. I've never seen this side of you before.
You've got to be kidding. All the time we spent planning this.
To commit her, not murder her.
What's the difference? We're not doing all this for peanuts, you know. We inherited $1.5 million from my father, Jennifer and I. You and I will have all of it once she... Who could that be?
I'll see.
Wait. No, I guess we can't pretend no one's at home. The lights are all on.
And my car's parked out front. Oh, it's you.
Okay if I come in, Mr. Lansing?
Oh, well, now,
Thanks. Rotten night out there. Just plain rotten.
It's Officer Helmut, Maggie.
Yes, so I see. Getting to be a regular visitor, aren't you?
To be honest with you, Miss Brady, it's a real nasty night, and walking a beat, I didn't think you'd mind if I came in for a few minutes. Also, I wanted to see how Jen's getting along.
Jen is getting along very well, if it's any concern of yours, which it is not.
Oh, well, I only...
Officer Helmut, circumstances beyond my control brought you into this house last night, but I do control whether you'll keep coming here like this.
Please leave.
Oh, well, now, wait a minute, Miss Brady. I like your sister, and I have reason to think she likes me. Now, wait a second. Just wait a second. I also think she needs somebody like me, somebody to lean on, to protect her.
Of all
And further than that, I'm here on official business.
Official business?
I'm placing you both under arrest on a charge of... Where is Jen?
That's no business of yours. What's all this about?
Where is she?
She is upstairs asleep, if you must know.
Asleep? At 8 o'clock at night?
She took a couple of sleeping pills.
Where are you going? How dare you go out there?
Maggie,
You
my
have
God.
any nerve, don't lose it now.
Well, he'll know.
He'll know she took an overdose. That's all he will know.
He will know that we gave it to her. He's arresting us.
For what? On what charge? Whatever it is, he'll never make it stick. We've covered our tracks too well for the law to... He's carrying her down.
It's all right, baby. It's going to be all right. Operator, this is Officer Ed Helmet. I want an ambulance sent to 127 Brockhurst, and fast.
An ambulance? Why an ambulance?
An overdose of sleeping pills.
She took her.
She didn't take them, Buster. They were given to her, shoved down her throat, you ask me. I'm changing the charge against you two. I'm booking you for attempted murder.
You must be out of your mind. You're as crazy as my sister.
Who isn't crazy at all. That was a real far-out scene you two tried to pull. I gotta hand it to you two. You planned it so careful, so good. There wasn't a loophole in it, except one.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You don't, huh? Then let me explain. You set the whole thing up, the two of you. The marriage, the honeymoon trip across country and back, the fake murder, and the whole bit. Oh, and you played it smart. Very smart. Not a clue. I checked the Marriage License Bureau. No license. Easy enough. You could have bribed a clerk to destroy it.
Now, look,
I checked a few hotels. The big ones like the Ambassador, the Beverly in Los Angeles. No Mr. and Mrs. Howard Lansing listed. A piece of cake. When you registered, you gave a different name.
You're making yourself look like a fool. What you're saying is you could find no evidence.
Oh, but I did. One little clue that neither of you thought about. A car, Mr. Lansing. Your pretty little red sports car.
I don't follow.
You will. I told you I found that dry space out on the street last night because a car, a little sports car like yours, had been standing there during the rain.
Or it could have been anyone's car.
Sure. Same size as yours. Same wheelbase. But I agree, it could have been anyone's. Only it wasn't. It was yours. You want to know how I know?
We'd be enthralled.
I know, because last night, that car wasn't parked outside this house, but the one next door. I got to wondering about that. I kept saying to myself, if it was his car, why did he park outside the house next door? I came up with the answer today when I entered that house. Nobody there. And found fake blood all over the upstairs room. A gag knife. The kind you attach so it looks like you're stabbed. Even your clothes. And your luggage in the closet. Mr. Lansing.
Oh, God.
So you see, if it hadn't been for your car, I'd never have realized that brownstone houses in a row like these are identical. You bought this place, or leased it while Jen and him were on their honeymoon, didn't you, Miss Brady? Last night, when Jen went screaming into the street, you deliberately let her run into the street so you could bring her back to the house next door. This house. And her state, wound up tight like she was, she never realized what you were doing, as you knew she wouldn't.
You'll have to prove these accusations.
I will. I can. With the one little clue that nails it all down at all four corners. The little red sports car again.
What about it?
Well, you told me you'd never driven across country.
I never have. If you're thinking of the mileage on the car, that proves nothing.
Oh, not the mileage, Mr. Lansing. The servicing.
Servicing?
You had it serviced at the Beverly Hotel in Los Angeles. A lube job, oil change, new filter, the works. And like they do at all service stations, they slapped a little sticker on the door jamb. That little sticker that carries the name and address of the service station. That little sticker that practically nobody ever notices. Anyhow, you didn't. And it says, Beverly Hotel Service Station, Los Angeles, California. Date and all. Easy, Jen. Easy. You're gonna be okay. From here on in, you're gonna be just fine.
must have been a costly business, buying or leasing that identical brownstone house and furnishing it exactly like the one next door. But then Maggie had all the money in the world, or thought she did. I'll return shortly. Yes, like a spider's web, so strong and yet so weak, the human brain can be broken. But happily, again, like the spider's web, it can be repaired, as good as new. Our cast included Lois Nettleton, Tony Roberts, Terry Keane, and Norman Rose. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown. This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams.
The CBS Radio Mystery Theater presents... Come in. Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall. There are some events so unforgettable they're almost impossible to describe. How many of you who hear me now remember pictures of thousands of weeping Frenchmen in the streets of Paris as the German conqueror rolled down the Champs-Élysées? Another occasion that caused literally an entire nation to cry aloud, so great was the sadness, happened 115 years ago, one April day. We have looked into this tremendous tragedy, and for the first time on Mystery Theater, will reveal to you the secret behind the great conspiracy.
John Wilkes Booth. Well, you're not by any chance the famous actor. I was, but I shall perform no more, Doctor. Only one play interests me now, and that is Venice Preserved. I shall play that. Well, isn't that the story that to save Venice, plotters plot to do away with the entire Venetian cabinet?
Yes. For liberty, all the leaders must be assassinated. Our drama, Conspiracy, written especially for the Mystery Theater by G. Frederick Lewis, stars Kevin McCarthy. We are in New York City, November the 25th, 1864. The curtain has rung down on a performance of Julius Caesar, starring three actors who are related, the three great matinee idols of the day. Junius Booth playing Cassius, Edwin Booth as Brutus, and John Wilkes Booth, Mark Antony. The curtain calls have been taken. Edwin and Junius have returned to their dressing rooms. John Wilkes, alone, stands on the darkened stage.
Where did I go wrong in the friends, Romans, countrymen's speech? Oh, what a fall was there, my countrymen. Then I and you and all of us fell down while bloody treason flourished over us. Oh, now you weep. That's the place. That's where I went off the track. No, do it this way. While bloody treason flourished over us. Oh, Now you weep. Very quietly. That's it. Who's that?
Mr. Booth, this is a great honor. I came round to the back of the stage to thank you.
You're quite welcome. Your name, sir?
Louis Payne, Mr. Booth. It may be hard for you to believe this, but tonight I saw Mark Anthony live.
Why, thank you.
You see, this is the very first play I've ever seen. I've been a soldier most of my life.
Well, that's a pity. I suppose that keeps you on the go. Are you stationed hereabouts?
No, Mr. Booth. When war broke out, I enlisted with the 2nd Florida Infantry. I was also at Gettysburg and then with Mosby's Raiders. A few very tight spots that ended me in a hospital in Baltimore. Now, here I am.
Yeah, for a young man, you've seen quite a bit of action.
Oh, I'm strong. I can give as good as I get. But tonight, Mr. Booth, seeing you on this stage... Oh, that strength melted. I wept like a child.
You have a way with words yourself, Mr. Payne. Why don't you come back to my dressing room for a bit of wine? Have another glassful, Louis? And I expect you to call me John Wilkes.
Oh, a great honor.
That's yours. As high as the glass will permit. A great honor, nonsense. We're both men of action. It's fate that has brought us together. You know Macbeth. Fate plays a big part. The witches.
Oh, I'm afraid not.
Macbeth there was a man of action. But in my case, fortunately, in my life, I have no Lady Macbeth to upstage me. Louis, why don't you come with me to Washington?
You mean after the war?
This cursed war. I'm a man of peace, you know. I love peace. For 4 years, I've hoped and prayed for the dark clouds to break, but now... I see that all hope of peace is dead.
The South is your home, Mr. Booth?
John Wilkes, I told you, Louis.
Oh, yes.
John Wilkes. Yes, I have ever held the South was right. The very nomination 4 years ago of Lincoln warned of war. The election proved it. Brother piercing brother's heart. How wicked. I could use your strength in Washington.
I'll be honest with you, sir. I'm a deserter from the Confederate Army.
Well, who is to know? You've seen enough action. Nothing to be ashamed. You and I must strike a blow for freedom.
Well, what will you do in Washington?
A great play, sir. A great act in a play called Freedom for the Confederacy. Come with me to Washington, Louis. I will make you one of the principals in my play. I beg your pardon, sir. I wonder if you could tell me who is the owner of this land?
Why do you ask?
Well, I've been up and down this part of Maryland, and I thought I might like to purchase a farm, you know? My card, sir. John Wilkes Booth. I was told by an old friend of mine in Bryantown, Dr. William Bowman. He said that there might be some land for sale, and I should try to find Dr. Samuel Mudd.
I am Dr. Mudd. And yes, I know Dr. Bowman. But I'm afraid, sir, this land is not for sale.
Hell, if I were the owner, I wouldn't part with it either. You wouldn't have any horses for sale, would you, Dr. Mudd?
Horses? Why, yes, I could accommodate you.
Now tell me something about the roads leading through here out of Washington. I mean, if someone wished to travel in a hurry, you know.
Well, it really depends, Mr. Booth, where one intended to go.
South, sir, south. I wonder if we might repair to your house, Doctor. There are some things I would like to discuss with you.
Why, certainly. I'm sorry Dr. Bowman didn't apprise me of your arrival.
Not his fault. I took him by surprise this morning. We're old friends, you know. He told me that you were a quiet advocate of the South.
Too quiet, I'm afraid. But what can a doctor do? I see our old way of life threatened and ultimately disappearing. However, I put all my faith in General Lee.
I hope it's not misplaced, sir. Is your house far from here?
No, not at all. We can walk it. John Wilkes Booth. You're not by any chance the famous actor.
I was. But I shall perform no more.
That would be a great loss to the stage.
There's only one play I care to present, and that is Venice Preserved.
Oh, I know that play. Isn't the gist of it, to save Venice, all the officials of the Venetian cabinet are to be assassinated?
Dr. Mudd, I have been slowly gathering faithful patriots about me. I have a plan to seize Abraham Lincoln by force. Perhaps as he is driving his carriage about Washington one day, threaten him with instant death if he gives any warning, drive across the Navy Bridge as fast as possible, fresh horses halfway down the peninsula, and put aboard a boat at Port Tobacco at 8 o'clock at night. In an hour, we would be in Virginia behind Confederate lines.
Kidnap the president?
Hold him for ransom.
What ransom?
To agree to stop this civil massacre, to order the North to lay down its arms, and to return all Confederate prisoners immediately.
Oh, my. I have often thought, if only I could be of some service.
You can. Your farmhouse, Dr. Mudd, is only 30 miles from the capital. Can I regard it as a way station to freedom?
You mean you wish me to have fresh horses ready?
What do you wish?
To do anything I can to save the Confederacy.
Done.
Mr. Booth, you said you were gathering men who could be trusted. I know of such a man in John Harrison Surratt. He's in the Secret Service of the Confederacy. When he's home, he lives up the road there with his mother. She's a widow and as loyal a woman to the Confederacy as you're likely to find.
This Mrs. Surratt?
Mary Eugenie Surratt. She will help.
I shall make it a point to see her. But now I must make arrangements to cross the lower Potomac by boat.
Like a Southern Paul Revere, you are alerting patriots and gathering friends. I am excited about the prospect.
Dr. Mudd, a handshake.
If you wish to reach me, how shall I know?
I shall send a message. It will be, Venice must be preserved. Coachman, stop right here. I want to talk to that man lying in that doorway. Stop, I say. Lewis. Lewis Payne, is that you?
Leave me go away.
Lewis, what are you doing lying here on the street? You've been in an accident. Are you sick?
Happy New Year, whoever you are.
You look a sight. I never thought I'd run into you looking like this and here in Washington. Let me help you to your feet. Come on now. Give me your hands. Give me your hands, man.
I can get up alone.
It's me, John Wilkes Booth. Don't you know me? Are you drunk?
Oh, I haven't the price of a thimble of ale. No, I'm tired.
You look terrible, Lewis. Skin and bones. My carriage is at the curb. I want you to come along with me this instant.
You are Booth. I looked for you everywhere. Ford's Theater. I couldn't find you.
Coachman, as soon as my friend and I are inside, direct your horses straight to my house, and don't spare the whip.
Well, I came too late to that hotel where you were staying in New York. You'd already left.
But in the meantime, it's been 5 weeks. Here it is New Year's Eve. I needed you.
Been in and out of prison. I had a difference of opinion with the negress servant where I was staying. Asked her to clean my room, and she refused. They said I struck her, threw her on the floor, threatened her life.
Who are they?
She had me arrested. Imagine, this black woman. And the provost marshal treated me like a common criminal. Yes, I hit her. Now, why shouldn't I? She disobeyed me.
You have no place to stay?
I run from everywhere. Military police on every corner. See, they'll catch me for being a deserter. I've been robbed. I haven't any money. I eat scraps in the street before the rats get to them.
Tell me no more, Lewis. You shall eat and have a place to rest your head. But first, I must know that you, Lewis Payne, are bound to me, John Wilkes Booth, in thought and deed.
Oh, I'll swear to anything. Whatever you have me do, only give me something to eat.
Coachman, halt your carriage. Here's some money, Lewis. There's a restaurant at the bottom of this road that has no qualms about the appearance of its clients. Eat all you can. And then return to that White House down there on the corner. You see it?
Yes, sir.
Ring 3 times, then step back into the road, and I shall open a window, an upstairs window, and you will say, Venice must be preserved. and I shall come down and let you in. Gentlemen, tonight, 3 hours after the start of the new year, 1865, we are gathered each to help light the torch of liberty.
John Wilkes Booth.
Yes, Dr. Mudd.
There are 4 of us in this room in your house at an hour when we should all be asleep. Won't you introduce us, please?
Forgive me. I presumed that those with like heart needed no introduction. However, this gentleman on my right is Dr. Samuel Mudd, a physician. To his right, 2 new recruits to our cause. Mr. David Harold. Davy is employed at Thompson's Drugs, 15th in Pennsylvania, very close to the White House, where he can both observe and act. And sitting beside him, George Atzerodt. George has secured for us a flat-bottomed boat capable of holding 15 persons. And when we take President Lincoln for his unexpected ride across the Confederate lines, George will ferry us across the Potomac. He's a ferryman by trade. That must be our 5th friend. Let me by, please, so I can open the window. Yes. What do you wish?
Venice must be preserved.
Stay where you are. I'll be right down.
And so it began, a conspiracy which had no parallel in history. Actually, as we look back, we see it as a course plotted by foolish and misguided young men, not so much for honor, but for money. All except perhaps the leader, John Wilkes Booth himself. For Booth was a monomaniac on the subject of the wronged South. So much so that his mind was quite unsettled on the subject. In fact, you could say unhinged. I shall return shortly with Act 2. The plot went forward to capture President Lincoln, spirit him from Washington across the Potomac to Virginia, then hold him hostage to stop the war, release the prisoners, grant amnesty to the rebel army. Only a self-appointed and self-deluded savior could have undertaken this misbegotten task.
It's 10 minutes to 5 in the morning, gentlemen. We have carefully discussed the roles each of you are to play, responsibilities, duties, etc., etc. Not a day goes by that I am not about the town of Washington purchasing the tools for freedom. Dr. Mudd, your friend Mrs. Surratt has put her house at our disposal. Made it into a magazine of arms, gunpowder and ammunition like our ancestors did at Williamsburg.
Specifically, what arms?
Good question, Lewis. Several cartridge boxes, 8 carbines. 2 of these are fine Spencer carbines.
Oh, Spencers. Now, I can vouch for them. They fire in rapid succession a number of rounds without reloading.
I thought we were party to a kidnapping, not a war.
Know your enemy, I say, Doctor. Excuse me. A little short of breath. I shall sit down.
What is it, John? You're very pale.
Quite all right. Quite all right, Doctor. Not even tired. I've often stayed up all night talking to. We are but mortals.
I think we should adjourn the meeting, Dr. Mudd.
Let's carry him to the sofa. Davy, George, let's have a hand here.
No, I protest. I'm quite fit. Quite fit. Come in.
How are you feeling today, John?
Perfectly fine, perfectly fit. How else should I feel, Doctor?
Well, yesterday you seemed, shall I say...
There's nothing to say.
Under strain?
Dr. Mudd, when I need a medical consultation, I shall ask for it.
Now, look, John, I didn't come to beset you, but have you seen the Evening Standard?
Yes, I saw it.
I brought it along.
I told you I saw it. It matters not to me.
Nor our plans?
Certainly not.
The fall of Richmond? Jefferson Davis running for the hills doesn't matter? I think the Confederacy has gone up.
Do you now? But it hasn't, I tell you. It hasn't. We'll fight on. And you, Doctor, and I, and my fighters for Southern freedom, we shall act from an unexpected front.
Have you enlisted the aid of Captain Surratt yet?
No, but I'm very hopeful tonight. He's never been long enough in one place.
I told you he's with the Secret Service under General Wilder.
I remember. Do you think I, John Wilkes Booth, have a faulty memory?
John,
Are you sure you feel all right?
Yes, right as rain. Yes, Mrs. Surratt has arranged it. I want that Surratt. Secret Service. He must know Maryland and Virginia very well. You? What is the word?
Venice must be preserved.
Captain Surratt?
Wilkes Booth?
I appreciate your meeting me here out in this field. Too much time has elapsed since Dr. Mudd first mentioned your name as an ally.
An experienced ally. I've been busy.
Yes, so Mrs. Surratt has surprised me walking in and out of the lines of the two armies. Washington, Richmond, New York.
I'm not alone in the Confederate Secret Service. My mother tells me she's bound hand and foot to your cause, Mr. Booth.
Did she have a message for me?
Yes. She has a longer rope. And a monkey wrench of the correct size. I gather this has some meaning for you.
Would you join our effort, Captain Surratt?
May I reserve decision until I've heard your scheme? First of all, the longer rope. Are you about to hang Lincoln?
I would if I could. No, in the event of our capturing the president, my fellow patriots plan to stretch that rope across some point in the road to break the pursuit of any cavalry that might follow.
And the monkey wrench?
Well, as soon as we reach the Potomac, to remove the wheels of the president's carriage and set it bodily on the boat, which we'll ferry across the river.
Your intention, then, is one evening when Lincoln makes his daily visit to the soldiers' hospital to kidnap him?
I have almost all the men I need.
And if you don't mind my speaking plainly, Booth, what you propose is quite impractical. The idea is not feasible. I don't think you realize the dangers.
I don't consider that for a moment.
Nor do I, not in my job. But for this, it must be considered. After leaving Washington with President Lincoln, we would have to drive over 100 miles before we'd cross the Potomac.
I know, and having crossed that safely, and I have an excellent ferryman, there is a further long drive from one end of Midland, Virginia, to the other.
My dear Booth, aren't you aware that the section is simply swarming with Yankees?
Are you certain?
Well, I've just come through there. All right. Granted we do by some miracle get through, and if we reach the Rappahannock and cross it, we might then be reasonably safe.
There you are.
Even so, I'd say we stand about one chance in 500 in surmounting all those obstacles. From the moment we get possession of Mr. Lincoln's person, the entire country will be in a furor. Booth, think. The President of the United States. He can't be spirited away like an ordinary citizen.
I'll take that chance. Any chance. Are you sure Surratt understood and agreed?
Absolutely, John. He told George to tell you it was now or never.
I never say never. 9 o'clock. The evening of March 16th, the year of our Lord, 1865. A date that will be long remembered.
I hope I'm here to remember it.
You shall be, Lewis. You shall be richer, retired, and respected as one of the liberators of the New South. You shall remember this very spot where you stood at the Long Bridge, about to make history.
If Surratt does what he agreed to.
At what time was Lincoln to visit the soldiers' home tonight?
David Harold told me 7:30.
How do you find him? Reliable? Davy, I mean.
Don't ask me. You assigned him to watch the White House.
Well, naturally. He takes medicines over there from his pharmacy, and he has a woman friend who keeps him posted. Wait a moment. Did you say 7:30? You told me Surratt would jump that carriage at 9:30.
I never told you anything. I never even saw you. I gave the message to that fool at Surratt. I told him what Davy told me, 7:30.
Well, if Surratt followed the plan, grabbed the reins of the president's carriage at 7:30, it wouldn't have taken him this long, an hour and a half, to drive through old fields to where we're standing now. Shh. What is that?
What? I don't hear a thing but the water under the bridge.
Lewis, you go across the road and ask out Surratt what time he told me.
What difference does it make? What's done is done. Now look, you hand-picked everyone. They were all your choice. And George can't even write his own name.
You could have done better.
He has wrecked our plans.
Now, don't be too certain. Surratt may still bring us the president.
Why do you keep protecting Joe?
Because I am not a ferryman, and neither are you. If anyone can get Lincoln safely across the Potomac, it'll be him. Now go across the road and tell the others to remain on the alert. We will wait until midnight.
Who desires to know?
I'm the Marshal of the District of Columbia. You, sir, in that carriage, stand and identify yourself.
Certainly. I'm Edwin M. Stanton, Secretary of War.
Secretary Stanton? Oh, forgive me, sir, but word is out there may be an attempt on the life of the president tonight, so we're stopping every horseman and carriage.
Marshal, isn't the president at the White House?
No, Mr. Secretary. The president was scheduled for his evening visit at the soldiers' home, the old 7th Street Hospital, so we're protecting the road.
He's not there, Marshal. I can vouch for that. I've just come from there. Carry on, Marshal. You and your men stop everything that moves this night until I send word the president has been found safe. Coachman, the White House. Mr. President, is that you?
Edward. Good evening. Isn't it a beautiful night? You see those stars? God's in his heaven. Someday we shall say, and all's right with the world.
I look for you at the soldiers' home.
I would have been there if I could. I hate to miss one visit with our boys. Work always seems to interfere.
General Hunter and I both feel uneasy when you visit the wounded without a guard.
Oh, Edwin, no one wants to kill me. What good would my death do anybody? Besides, I can't always be thinking of death. Our soldiers look it full in the face every single day. Why shouldn't I? Do come inside, Edwin. We'll talk a bit longer.
I'll stay a while, but you must agree to what I propose.
Oh? Sight unseen?
Better than life unlived.
This is where Surratt lives when he's in Washington. Dismount, Dr. Mudd. You too, Lewis?
I'd like to give that Captain Surratt a piece of my mind. I've known him and his mother since he was a boy. I simply don't understand.
I don't like it a bit, I don't.
Lewis, try to contain your temper.
Staying up half the night waiting for the infallible captain? If you don't mind, John Wilkes, I have better things to do with my evenings than wait at bridges.
Payne.
Yes, Dr. Mudd?
Let's keep the post-mortem of this botched kidnapping a short one.
I know how to handle this, Dr. Mudd. Will you get out of my way, Lewis? I want to pull the bell.
Booth, it's 2 a.m. If someone were home, they would answer.
Ridiculous. Where is Surratt? This is 541, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Now, these houses on 8th Street look alike. If Surratt is here, I suspect that good reason why the mix-up tonight.
And what if he is not?
Then, Dr. Mudd, I shall expect an even better reason. Now, where are you going, Lewis?
I'm going to bed. I am not spending one more minute waiting about for your officious, ill-mannered, greedy friend, the captain.
Something must have happened. Can't you recognize that?
You think Surratt is a patriot. I think he's a cowardly opportunist. Good night.
Lewis doesn't know the man as you and I do, Doctor. He's jealous of Surratt, always has been.
None of them seem to like one another, John.
Well, I never pledged them to love, only to serve.
Well, my common sense told me all along abducting the president in his carriage was not a workable idea.
Well, Doctor, a good soldier never lets himself run out of ammunition.
Explain yourself, John.
If the president cannot be captured on his way to the soldiers' home, then we shall kidnap him at the theater. He often goes to Ford's. He's a devotee of Shakespeare. One evening, when he's in his box, he can be lifted up from behind and thrown down onto the stage. It's only 12 feet. He can be caught by 2 of our comrades and hustled out the stage door to a waiting carriage. I've already bought one, perfect for the occasion.
John, are you mad?
Don't say that.
In front of a theater filled with people,
You think they're going to sit quietly and watch a kidnapping of their president as though it were part of the play?
All I need is a stagehand or a scene shifter who works at Ford's Theater.
Well, frankly, I'm at my wit's end. What would he do?
Why, turn off all the lights, footlights, audience lights, house lights, everything. Shut down the gas at the main. Plunge the theater into darkness.
In a crowded theater? Why, there'd be a riot.
Precisely, Dr. Mudd. One needs time to escape. That year, 1865, assassinations, machinations, all the devious ways men seek to pull their idols down to the ground and under it were not as widespread as today. However, even then, the deed overwhelmed the perpetrator. In this play, Mystery Theater seeks to understand the evildoer more than the evil done. I shall return shortly with Act 3. It is April 1865. A much-loved and much-hated lanky American presides over his country. He stands behind a rocking chair in his bedroom. The oil lamps are lit, and he speaks quietly to one of his oldest friends, Edwin Stanton, the Secretary of War. I told you, didn't I? This tall president is Abraham Lincoln.
Abe, I'm not staying. I merely came by to see if you were safe.
Oh, stay. You know, being president is about as lonely a job as there is. No one wants to talk with you, merely at you. Mrs. Lincoln's retired. I can tell you need the reassuring, not I.
Well, it's hard to be calm when incitements to murder or kidnap appear in the press.
I take it you mean that fool announcement in the Selma Dispatch. Edwin, they never liked me in southern Alabama.
There's also a rumor of a conspiracy hatched in Richmond to abduct or assassinate you, whichever is found the more practical.
Even if it's true, I don't see what the rebels would gain by killing or getting possession of me. I'm but a single individual. Wouldn't help their cause or make the least difference in the progress of the war. Everything would go right on just the same.
Mr. President, is that what you call reassuring me? Should anything ever happen to you, the United States would never, ever be the same.
Edwin, one can become accustomed to a great deal, even danger.
Well, I'm not asking too much of you, Abe.
Oh, no, only that whenever I leave the executive mansion, that 6 of your tallest guards ride in front of me and 6 to the rear. Do I have it right, Edwin?
Almost, Abe. And 6 on each side of you as well. Well, I must go now, Mr. President. If I may, I'll bid you good night. And if there are no further objections, we shall place an unobtrusive guard over you.
Well, how can I object, Mr. Stanton? After all, you are the Secretary of War. However,
yes?
I predict that if all presidents find such precautions necessary, instead of war, they'll be calling your post Secretary of Defense.
Who's there? Is that you, Boot?
Yes, Captain Surratt.
Great heavens, how long have you been waiting here at my front door?
Too long.
All right, let's go inside.
What the devil happened? 5 hours all of us waited at Long Bridge.
Lincoln never arrived. I waited for him on 7th. He never appeared.
He didn't leave for the soldiers' home?
That's what I said. I waited till 9, went around to the White House. I had to wait there 2 hours before the groom I know came on duty. He said the president was indisposed and never left the White House. I told you it wouldn't work. I was ready to jump his carriage as we planned.
How much longer is this going to go on? Every Southern soldier will have bled to death, and I'll be in the poorhouse before we seize Lincoln.
There'll be other opportunities, Booth. We just have to be patient. Wait.
Have you any idea, Surratt, what all this is costing me? 6 men and myself? The ammunition stored at your mother's? Why, the pair of Spencer carbines brand new came to $300. A boat I had to buy, a buggy, a carriage. I haven't even mentioned the rental of horses for each of us and boarding houses, lodgings, meals, while we wait for the opportune moment. I've mortgaged my earnings for years.
All right, I have a suggestion. Why don't you play a benefit here in Washington? They'll pay you handsomely.
A special performance at Ford's Theater? I may just have to.
John Wilkes, this is a ridiculous waste of time. Riding around Washington in your carriage We've been up and down Pennsylvania Avenue for the better part of an hour. You haven't said a word. All you do is keep looking at all the other carriages.
Have I said nothing, Lewis? Well, I've been thinking the unthinkable. Was it only a month ago we failed in our planned kidnapping?
Less. We were ready, all of us, waiting for Surratt to drive up with his prisoner, but the president didn't oblige. What's that in your hand?
Handcuffs. Surratt had them to handcuff Lincoln once we had captured his carriage. You snapped them in and out.
I've had them on my wrists. I don't like them. They lock with a key.
Yes, they do, Lewis. But we have lost that key. The key to free my land from its bondage. And now the North will be our masters forever. It's all over now. Don't you know the news?
No.
Lee surrendered to Grant yesterday at Appomattox. The South will now forevermore be in chains. So I put these handcuffs back into my pocket.
No point in kidnapping Lincoln now, I see. Of course.
There's nothing to stop that treacherous man from being president as long as he lives. Is there?
Well, I doubt he'd wish it. But the country would let him.
Driver, look sharp. You see that carriage coming towards me, drawn by two grays? Well, follow it, driver, will you? Turn around and follow it. Don't you understand what I say? Don't let that coach now out of your sight.
Whose carriage is that?
Lincoln's.
Following won't do any good. He's 12 deep in guards.
Well, you can never tell. I'm very accurate with a derringer. But I haven't brought mine with me. The more's the pity.
Oh, now you listen to me, John Wilkes. If you ever get a notion to shoot the president from a carriage I'm riding in, warn me. Now, I'd like to have a few hours of notice so I can prepare my escape.
Very well, Lewis. Consider yourself on notice as of this moment.
For what, John Wilkes?
A special benefit at Ford's Theater tomorrow for the benefit of the dying Confederacy.
Come in, Booth. I've been waiting for you. I slept very little last night, not after your message.
Dr. Mudd, I haven't slept at all the entire night.
Do you know what day it is today?
Certainly April 14th.
Oh, it's more than that. It's Good Friday.
Is it now? Good Friday. Well, it'll be a black Easter for the North before this weekend is past. You have my spurs.
Right here in this chest.
Will you give me a hand to put them on, Doctor?
To have one come loose has to happen just once.
When I've done the deed and jumped a dozen feet from the president's box to the stage, believe me, nothing will stop my escape.
Keep your feet clear of the flags around the box. They could trip you.
It's my head that must remain clear, not my feet.
Now you listen, Captain Surratt. I am not impressed with your pussyfooting Secret Service. You have never seen any real action. All through the war, I bet you slept in a bed every night.
That's fine talk from you, Mr. Deserter. It got too hot for you, did it?
Booth is here.
Payne, you and I'll talk later.
Good day, gentlemen. I've asked you all to meet me here for final instructions and assignments. George, Lewis, Davy, John, you and I are all provided with horses.
Sir, am I getting the one-eyed bay? I like her. She's fast.
You are. John Surratt.
Sir?
You know what you have to do at the box at Ford's Theater.
It's the right box as you face the stage.
That's it.
Consider it done.
Where's Dr. Mudd?
He's out of the picture. He will remain at his house where Davy and I will hide for the first 24 hours.
Well, I thought you were going to my mother's place.
You are, John. But if they connect you with us, don't stay there too long. It'll be the first place the Federalists will think of. George, you head back to Georgetown and then on to Maryland. Be sure to return your horse to Kellerer's stable first. Act calmly as if this was none of your affair. There'll be another horse for you behind the Herndon house. Now, as to the assignments, Lincoln is mine.
And which traitor do I get?
You know, the Secretary of State, Seward, as planned.
Right, I go with a package from his doctor.
Davy, you supply the medicine.
Gain admittance, go to his bedroom, and then dash his brains out with my pistol. I ought to be able to take care of him in 3 minutes. And what's our know-it-all Captain Surratt gonna do? Shine the buttons on his jacket?
I'm not taking that from any Confederate deserter.
Hold on now, you two.
Booth. Well, what is it?
John Wilkes, are you all right?
Yes, everybody. Now listen, we cannot afford to quarrel among ourselves. Now, do you understand that? Each of us has a duty to perform. Surratt, Payne, when this April the 14th is past, you two can duel one another, do anything you please. But now, you belong to me and the cause. What time is it, Captain?
4 o'clock.
All right, the curtain goes up in 4 hours. Does that give you enough time, John, to take care of the president's box?
I can do it in half an hour. Your man by the back door, will he let me into the theater?
Now, Ford's will be empty all afternoon. The stagehand will be there. Just say Booth to him, and he'll look the other way. Now, you go right in. I'll meet you, John, in the alley behind the theater at 9. The rest of you, be sure you've covered your tracks. Your lives depend on it. Well, then, till death do us part. Surratt?
It's done.
So everything is ready.
Just as we planned. I cut a hole in the inner door leading to the box, right where you'll be able to see Lincoln sitting in his chair.
And what about the outer door?
I left that short piece of 2x4 where you can wedge it against the outer door. So after you've fired the shot, jump clear to the stage. It'll delay anyone trying to get to the president. My job's done, John Wilkes. The rest is up to you.
I'll hide in the alley till it's time. You signal me when the second act's begun.
You can count on me. I'll signal.
The second act of Our American Cousin is the most diverting. As soon as I see your sign, I'll slip past the guard. They're usually so taken up with the play they can't be bothered. And I'll be inside the first door. And then a quick look through the peephole. And
then Venice will be preserved. Heaven help you, Booth.
Sic semper tyrannis. Goodbye. I see him. I can see him. Hated man. Now let it work. Mischief thou art afoot. Take thou what course thou will. Sic semper tyrannis! John Wilkes Booth, the man who played Mark Antony on the American stage, believed himself to be a Marcus Brutus on the American scene, an avenger of tyranny. And so ended, perhaps, the greatest conspiracy of them all. And so began, certainly, our greatest tragedy, the death of our greatest president. Rarely does the Mystery Theater attempt such authenticity in what is, after all, a playhouse of the unpredictable and the unknown. In this dramatization of this infamous conspiracy, no events or names were changed, and the tragic drama was drawn from the archives of the United States government, the U.S. Military Commission, records of the trial, the newspapers of the day, and the diary of John Wilkes Booth himself. Our cast included Kevin McCarthy, Russell Horton, Arnold Moss, and Court Benson.
The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown. This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams.
The CBS Radio Mystery Theater presents... Come in. Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall. Trust. To trust someone. What does that mean? I suppose that in simple terms it means you feel sure that a certain person will not let you down, that you can put complete confidence in him or her. Assuredly, trust ranks among the strongest expressions of the human psyche. Yet it is also the most delicate and vulnerable, as Claudia Hammond found out. Our mystery drama, Trapped, was written especially for the Mystery Theater by George Lothar and stars Nina Foch. Well, now, this thing, trust, it's as strong as tempered steel, yet as delicate as, a piece of porcelain. Strong because it grows slowly, deeply, in the compost of unselfish deed. Example, you would not trust me on brief acquaintance, but if I did several unselfish things for you, you would say, I trust E.G., because my welfare means more to him than his own. Yet, should I do one selfish thing, for whatever reason, and your trust, your confidence in me would crack, perhaps even shatter.
No, Claudia. When you want to sit up in bed, you let me adjust the pillows. That's what I'm here for.
Dear heaven, Mary, can't I exert myself at all?
Not if you want to recover from your heart condition. Bed rest. That's what Dr. Stein ordered, and that is what I am paid to see you get.
Money can never repay you for all your care.
Oh, now I'm rewarded in other ways, in watching you get better.
Huh. Better?
You are getting better. Oh, it's slow, but you mustn't despair.
Mailman.
Todd, darling.
In person. How's the most beautiful wife in the world doing today?
She's very well, Mr. Hammond.
Oh, looks it, too. Rosy cheeks, bright blue eyes, shining gold hair. Give your actor husband a kiss.
Speaking of my actor husband, shouldn't you be at the theater?
Oh, I'll make it. Jerry kept me on the phone talking over the new film contract, and I wanted to sort the mail before taking off. Here's your batch.
Thank you, darling.
One more kiss. And I'm off. Take good care of her, Mary.
You know I will, Mr. Hammond. Well, now, let's see what your handsome mailman has brought today.
Now, let me open some, Mary.
All right, you can open these while I... Well, what's this?
What?
It's a letter addressed to Mr. Hammond. He must have overlooked it when he sorted the mail.
Huh?
Shell pink envelope. Perfumed. Woman's handwriting.
It's not a mash note. Todd gets them by the gross. Open it, Mary. Let's see what it says.
Oh, should we?
Of course. Todd shows me all his fan mail.
Oh.
Well, you know, proposals of marriage and offers of love and, I don't know what all. What's the matter?
A matter?
The way you looked when you opened that letter. Mary, what is it? Now, let me see that letter.
No, Claudia. I'll just give it to Mr. Hammond when
Mary, please, let me have that letter.
All right.
What? Mary, did you read this?
Well, I glanced at it enough to...
Todd, dearest, of course I love you as deeply, passionately, as you love me. And you're right. Claudia does stand between us. So, dearest heart, I've changed my mind. I will go along with your plan to put her out of the way. Signed, Margot.
Margot, whoever she is, could use the services of a psychiatrist.
You think this is just one of those crank letters?
Oh, what else could it be? Claudia, you don't think it's anything but that?
If it is, he'd have good reason.
What are you talking about?
I'm not a wife anymore. I'm a burden.
Now, I will listen to no more of that. That husband of yours doesn't just love you. He adores you.
Or acts as if he does.
All right. Have it your way. Now, it's time for you to take your tonic and have a nap.
I don't want any tonic.
You've got to have it. It's the one thing that really builds up your strength.
Strength? For what? To go on living?
Of course. Oh, Claudia, honey, what makes
If Todd doesn't love me anymore, I'd just as soon be dead. Todd? That you?
Sorry, sweetheart. I didn't mean to wake you. Just to look in on you.
Turn on a light.
No. Go back to sleep.
What time is it?
It's 2:30.
2:30? Where have you been till this hour?
With Jerry, talking film production this time. I'll be glad when he gets that picture deal straightened out. But come on now, back to sleep.
Aren't you going to kiss me goodnight?
Of course. Oh, hey, down, girl, down.
Oh, Todd, I love you so much.
Oh, no more than I love you, sweetheart. But you know what Dr. Stein said about
I don't care what he said. Oh, Todd, I want you. I want to be a wife to you. The wife I used to be.
You are a wife to me. The dearest, most adorable wife any man could have.
I'm an invalid. A millstone round your neck.
If that's the case, you're the prettiest millstone I've ever had around my neck. Good night now. Sleep well.
Todd?
Yes?
Who is Margot?
Margot who?
Just Margot. Who is she?
I don't know. I mean, why do you ask?
Nothing.
You must have a reason.
No. It's nothing. Good night.
Good night, dear.
A friend. No name. It's just signed, a friend.
Oh, now this is getting to be... May I see that letter, Claudia? Thank you. Dear Claudia Hammond, you don't know me, we've never met, but I happen to know that your husband and a woman named Margot, he has been seeing for months now, plan to kill you. Oh, really?
Now, read the rest of it.
Guard yourself. Be careful what you eat. Above all, don't take any of the tonic your doctor prescribed unless you trust the person who gives it to you. Signed, a friend.
Mary, I'm scared.
You have nothing to worry about as long as I'm here. I feed you. I give you your tonic, and I take care of you. So what do you have to fear?
What about your day off?
Well, Mrs. Gates comes in then, and you can certainly trust her.
Oh, I don't know.
All right then. I won't take any days off.
But you can't.
Of course I can. At least until this whole silly, stupid thing is cleared up. And believe me, Claudia, that is what it is. It's silly and stupid.
I wish I could believe you.
Claudia,
Claudia, please.
I want Mary back. Get Mary back, Todd.
Dearest, I told you it's impossible.
I don't believe it. I don't.
Now stop that. Stop it.
What?
Oh, I'm sorry, sweetheart. But you can't go on letting your emotions run away with you. It could kill you.
It could.
You know it could. Now calm down and listen. Mary came to me this morning and said she had the offer of another job, nurse companion to an elderly and wealthy woman. I asked her what salary she'd be paid, hoping that I might meet it. But I couldn't. It's 3 times what we're paying her. I
don't care. I want Mary.
Honey, I'm sorry, but you just can't have Mary.
Tell her I want to see her. I'll talk to her. I'll persuade her.
You can't talk to her. She's gone.
Gone?
She left an hour ago.
Left? Without saying goodbye?
She said to tell you she couldn't bear to face you.
Oh, I can't believe this. I simply can't.
Look, the world hasn't caved in. Mary was good, but there are other practical nurses. In fact, I'm going to run over to the agency right now to interview several.
Leaving me alone?
You're safe enough for an hour or so. You've been left alone before.
Never as alone as I am now.
What?
Nothing.
I won't be more than an hour, I promise.
What are you doing?
Giving you your tonic before I go.
No.
Sweetheart, you've got to take it.
No, I said no.
Okay. Won't hurt you to skip it for once. It isn't exactly a matter of life and death.
Isn't it? Who's there? Who's there, I say?
Don't be scared, Claudia. It's only me.
Oh, Mary.
Yes, I saw Mr. Hammond leave and took the chance. He forgot to ask me for my key.
But, Mary, why have you come back? Todd said you didn't want to see me. Didn't want to say goodbye because it would upset me.
Oh, now, why would I say anything like that? How could I possibly upset you more than he did by firing me?
He fired you?
Well, yes. Why do you think I left? Claudia, what did he tell you?
That you had a better offer with some wealthy woman or other and that he couldn't afford to keep you as my nurse.
I see.
Mary, what is this?
Oh, honey, there was no offer of another job. He fired me. He told me to pack my things and get out and never come back.
Then he's getting ready to...
Now, it looks that way. But I'm going to call the police.
The police?
There's no other way. With me out of the house, you need protection.
But what can the police do? There's no proof Todd means to kill me.
There are the letters. You still have them, don't you?
Yes. But do you think they're enough, those letters, to convince the police? Won't they think what you thought at first? Crank letters?
Very likely, but they're all we have. Now, you keep them until I need them. And I'd better leave. He could come back any minute. Oh, here. I wrote it out for you. It's my telephone number. And you call me. You just call me anytime you need me.
Oh, Mary, I can't let you go.
I know, honey. I don't want to go. But we have no choice. But don't you worry. You are going to come out of this. Believe me.
Question is, will I come out of it alive?
Hi, darling. Here I am. Bag and baggage.
Come in, sweetie. I'll show you your room. Mary's former room.
You got rid of her, I take it.
Fired her this morning.
Good.
But I told Claudia she'd left for another job. One that paid better. So careful you don't give the show away.
You don't have to worry about me, darling.
No, but just be careful what you do or say. The last thing we want is Claudia getting suspicious.
Leave it to me.
Well, this'll be your room.
Nice.
And now, I'll introduce you to Claudia. Did you decide on a name?
How does Catherine Brent suit you?
Not bad. Okay, let's put this show on the road. Catherine?
Trust, as I said, is both strong and delicate. I might also have said that it can be misplaced. As it virtually goes without saying, Claudia misplaced hers. It's a mistake to misplace one's trust. A serious, indeed a dangerous mistake.
For Claudia, it may be the last mistake she'll ever make. I'll return shortly with Act Two. Our theme is trust. Abiding faith of one person in the honesty of another. Yet who of us has not at one time or another been duped by a person in whom we reposed complete confidence? Or did we dupe ourselves? Did our very faith in another place too much of a burden on him or her? In sum, did we have the right to impose our trust on another?
Claudia, this is Catherine Brent, your new nurse. She's replacing Mary.
Hello, Mrs. Hammond. I'm delighted to meet you.
Well, aren't you going to say hello to Catherine?
Hello, Catherine.
I'll leave the two of you to get acquainted. Got to get to the theater. We're rehearsing a new second lead for tonight's performance. Goodbye, sweetheart. Take good care of her, Mark. Catherine.
Trust me, Mr. Hammond. I mean to take very good care of her. Well, now, Mrs. Hammond, what can I do for you?
You can leave me alone.
Very well. But there are some things I must do. See that you take your meals, your tonic. Oh, by the way, where is it? Your tonic. Oh, never mind, I see. This bottle here. And it's just about time for you to have it.
I don't want it.
Oh, tastes bad. Well, does it?
No.
Well, then why don't you want it?
Don't you know?
I'm not a mind reader, Mrs. Hammond.
Neither am I. But I can read yours.
Well, in that case, you must know that I intend to give you your tonic whether you want it or not.
You can't force me to take it.
True.
Well, then?
I said I intended to give it to you whether you wanted it or not. I didn't say that I'd succeed.
Clever, aren't you?
Matter of fact, I am. Yes.
I'm impressed. Does it help you, your cleverness, to steal other women's husbands?
I beg your pardon?
You heard me, Catherine.
Well, it must taste bad. That's it, isn't it? Won't answer? Well, find out for myself. Well, it doesn't taste bad. Tastes rather like a nice red wine. You sure you won't change your mind?
You drank some.
Oh, I hope you don't mind. Just a small glassful. Oh. Here now, won't you? That's it. That's better.
What?
Well, it looks like I succeeded, after all.
You are clever. Very clever.
And thank you, Dr. Stein. Thank you very much. Good night. Well, you heard what he said, Claudia.
Yes?
If you continue to refuse to eat, to drink, to take the tonic, you'll find yourself in such a weakened state that I don't know what'll happen to you.
I'll die. That's what you want, isn't it? Well, don't just stare at me. It is what you want.
Sweetheart, Dr. Stein said, he said if you don't keep your strength up, you'd begin to think all kinds of crazy things, delusions like that. And, damn it, sweetheart, I'm beginning to think you are.
It's no delusion. You do want me to die, to put me out of the way.
Claudia.
And I don't blame you. How could I? I mean, look at me. An invalid, so weak I can't even leave this bed. A useless woman. A useless wife.
Oh, Claudia.
You think I don't know how it must be for you? You're a man. Not just any man, but a Broadway star who could have any woman he wanted. And all you've got is me.
All I want is you.
Don't lie to me. Oh, please, don't do that. I couldn't bear that. You remember our promise to each other.
Promise?
You don't remember. And it isn't so long ago. We were so in love then. So in love. We promised
we would trust each other. We sat in that little garden by the side of St. Bartholomew's Church on Park Avenue.
Oh, yes, yes. I remember the promise now.
Have you kept it? Have you?
Claudia, you're weak. You're worn out.
Have you?
What are you doing to me? To yourself.
Have you?
Claudia. Claudia!
Todd, what is it? What's that?
Another heart seizure, I think.
Phone Dr. Stein.
He's not back in his office yet.
Phone anyhow. Get it on record that you phoned.
Yes, yes.
Yes?
You decent? Can I come in?
Decent? You have got to be kidding, darling.
Stein just left.
And?
She'll be all right for a time. But he made it plain if she goes on refusing to eat, to take the tonic, it's curtains for her.
So?
What do you mean, so?
Just what I say. So? I'm sorry, Todd.
If she hadn't been ill all these months, if I hadn't had needs, a man's needs,
You'd have had no need for me. Is that what you're saying?
I guess maybe it is.
I thought I was something more than the fulfillment of your needs. I thought... never mind. If you want out, you say so. You say so now.
It isn't as simple as that.
It is to me. You're putting me through a hell of a time. The deal isn't worth it.
Huh?
Todd, I'm still willing to go through with this. But I just as soon get out right now. What do you want me to do?
We'll go ahead with things. Claudia, dearest, it's a simple, clear broad.
Oh.
You're wasting away.
Well, if you're so worried, let me go to a hospital.
Why in heaven's name a hospital?
You know why.
Claudia, I don't. Why a hospital? What difference would that make?
At least I could eat without fear.
Fear of what? Hello. Oh, yes, Dr. Stein. No, she's still refusing. Oh, I don't know. Doctor, she wants to go back to the hospital. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, that's the way I see it, too, but... Yes. All right, Doctor. And thanks very much for calling.
What did he say? Can I go back to the hospital?
No.
No?
He doesn't see what good that would do. He said it's simply a matter of your taking food, the tonic, to build up your strength. And if you refuse to do that here...
You're lying.
Claudia...
He said no such thing. You want to keep me here. You and Margot.
Margot?
Oh, don't act as if you didn't know.
But I don't.
Hope I'm not interrupting. I just came to see if Claudia's taken her broth.
No.
Oh, now, look, Claudia, I am knocking myself out trying to take care of you, and that includes cooking. And, sweetie, if you're not going to eat, I'd just as soon not cook.
Don't, then. Don't cook. What does it matter how you kill me? By poison or starvation, just so you do it.
Kill you?
Claudia, what in heaven's name are you saying?
You know what I'm saying. The two of you.
Oh, Claudia. I said this before, but I'm saying it again. You're imagining things.
Am I? I'll show you. I've got them here on my pillow.
Oh, Claudia, don't exert yourself. Whatever it is, I'll get it for you.
Get away from me.
Darling.
I'll get it. Here. I'm imagining things, am I? Is this letter a dream? And this?
Let me see.
No, you don't get your hands on them. They're the only evidence I've got of what you're up to.
Evidence?
It's all here in this letter you sent Todd. But he never got because it was mixed up in my mail. I'm sure you'll remember it. Todd, dearest, of course I love you as deeply, passionately as you love me. And you're right. Claudia does stand between us. So, dearest heart, I've changed my mind. I will go along with your plan to put her out of the way. Signed, Margot. Well, what do you have to say now, Margot?
You think that I am the woman who wrote that letter? That I am Margot?
That's incredible. I had no idea, none whatever, that this was why you were refusing to eat or drink. Oh, Claudia, sweetheart, darling, whatever you've been thinking is wrong. You're wrong. You're all wrong.
You're certainly wrong about me. My name is not Margot.
It isn't Catherine either. Well, is it?
Well, of course it is.
No.
Todd.
No. It isn't. Catherine isn't her name, Claudia. It's Margaret. Margaret Sutton.
Margaret Sutton? What do you think? I was born yesterday.
Claudia, believe me.
I saw Margaret Sutton on the stage often enough. She was slim and dark, and this woman is... She's...
All right, say it, darling. A fat peroxide blonde. I'm afraid I've got a bigger appetite than you.
If this woman is Margaret Sutton, why did you say her name was Catherine Brent?
I thought it would be best not to remind you of the past. You were so jealous in the early years of our marriage. I never dared even mention Margaret's name.
What is she doing here? Why did you replace Mary with her?
I needed someone I could trust to take care of you.
Well, if you needed someone you could trust, why did you fire Mary?
I told you. Mary had the offer of a better job.
That's a lie. Mary told me you fired her. You did, didn't you?
Well, since it's all coming out, I guess you'll have to know.
You fired her?
Yes.
Why?
Claudia, I don't want to hurt you. I know how fond you were of Mary.
And always will be. She was the most devoted, dedicated person I've ever known.
No, Claudia. It was all an act. The simple truth is that Mary was in love with me.
In love? With you?
Almost from the first day she entered this house, she started doing everything she could do to, well, get me to fall in love with her.
If you expect me to believe...
I don't expect you to believe it. But what I'm telling you now is the truth. Things went from bad to worse over the months. She got more and more difficult to handle, and finally, I couldn't take it anymore. I fired her. Claudia, that is the truth.
Go away and leave me alone.
Claudia, look at me. I swear I'm telling you the truth this time.
Leave me alone, please. Please leave me alone.
Better do what she wants, Todd. Or she could die right now. Come on. I've got to hand it to you, Todd. I always knew you were a good actor, but not that good.
I told her the truth.
But not all of the truth. By no means the whole truth.
What is the whole truth? What game are these two playing with Claudia as the pawn? Todd has lied to Claudia again and again. What lie or half-truth has he told her this time? I'll return shortly with Act 3. The very foundation stone of trust is truth. Accordingly, since Todd Hammond has lied to his wife Claudia repeatedly, she can scarcely be expected to trust him. So far as I'm concerned, she'd be a fool if she did. Apparently, she feels as I do, for as we rejoin her now, a helpless invalid, trapped in her bedroom, we find her telephoning the police.
Detective Bureau, Detective Jackson.
This is Claudia Hammond.
Claudia?
Hammond. Hammond.
Yes, ma'am. What can I do for you?
My husband and a woman he's in love with are trying to kill me. I need your help. Please, I need help.
Certainly, ma'am. We'll give you all the help we can. Who is your husband?
Todd Hammond. Todd Hammond, the actor?
Yeah, sure. You say he's trying to kill you. Him and this woman.
Yes.
And what's her name?
She's trying to palm herself off as an actress named Margaret Sutton, but I know better. Her real name is Margot.
Margot who?
I don't know. I'm an invalid, helpless and bedridden.
And he wants to get rid of me.
How's he trying to do this? What's he doing?
He's poisoning my food. Everything I drink.
Are you on any kind of pills like that?
You think I'm high on pills? That I'm imagining things?
No, ma'am, I didn't say that. Maybe just a little excited, a little hysterical?
I'm not uptight. I'm not hysterical. I'm telling you the truth. They're trying to kill me. Hello?
What's your address, ma'am?
1219 Park.
Apartment house?
Yes.
Apartment number?
Penthouse B.
Okay, we'll check this out. In fact, I'll check it out personally.
What do you mean you'll check it out? Oh, there's nothing to check out. They're trying to kill me, Todd and Margot. Only she doesn't call herself Margaret. She calls herself Margaret Sutton. And I can prove it. I tell you, I can prove it. I've got the letters to prove it.
Letters?
A letter from her to him saying she was willing to help him kill me. And another letter from a friend warning me against them.
What friend? What's your friend's name?
You don't believe me.
I didn't say I don't believe you.
I shouldn't have called. I should have known I'd only be wasting my time. I should have known you wouldn't believe me. Oh, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Mary. Mary, of course. Why didn't I think of her before this?
Hello?
Mary. Mary. This is Claudia.
Oh, Claudia, I've been so worried about you, but I didn't dare phone you.
Yes. Listen to me. It's happening. What the two of them planned, Todd and Margot. That she replaced you, and he pretended she was a nurse from the agency. He lied. Even gave her a different name. Called her Catherine Brent, and then... But you won't believe this. You really won't believe it. She tried to palm her off with an old flame of his, Margaret Sutton, who was slim and dark, and this woman, this Margot, she's fat and...
Claudia.
Yes?
Now, you must control yourself, dear.
Yes.
Because of your heart. You're putting a terrible strain on your heart.
Yes. I'll quiet down.
That's my girl.
Mary!
No. Hush. Just listen to me. They're not going to harm you, because I'm not going to let them.
The police?
Yes, I went to the police as I said I would, but I could see that they didn't take me seriously.
No, me neither. I was just talking to them, and...
What is it? Is there something wrong?
If you can't send the books over today, then send them when you can. Goodbye.
Bookstore?
Yes.
You ordered some books. I'll be happy to go and get them for you if they can't send them over today. Do you dare let me out of your sight? Just to go around the corner? 10 minutes at most. Which is why I don't understand how they can't deliver today. Who were you talking to, Claudia?
That's none of your business.
Suit yourself. Oh. That'll be Dr. Stein, I guess.
Dr. Stein?
He's going to give you your vitamin injections. Oh, and, darling, don't waste your time telling him Todd and I are killing you. He thinks you're off your rocker as it is.
You were supposed to monitor all her calls, but you let her phone the police.
I'm sorry, Todd, but even you will have to agree I have only 2 hands, 2 eyes, and 2 ears. I can't be everywhere and do everything at once.
A detective coming to see me backstage.
I'm sorry.
Oh, I guess it's not that important. What's important is not to let her get in touch with Mary. Or Mary with her.
What happened with the detective?
He didn't believe her, of course. Just checking up was all. But she did manage to get past you, and that worries me. Mary could start an awful lot of trouble. And that's the last thing in the world I need right now.
Take the phone out of her bedroom.
No. We don't have to go that far. There's an easier way. Just take this extension off the hook.
You're kidding.
No, it was a gimmick used in a play I was in years ago. That way she can't call out and nobody can phone in. But watch her. Watch her like a hawk. One slip up in it. It could mean the end. Believe me, the end.
Mary's number now. Where is it? Here. Funny. Something's wrong. Oh, no. They're taking the phone off the extension. Oh,
It's like in that play he was in. I can't phone out, and nobody can phone in. Oh, God. God, help me. Please. I don't want to die. Please. Oh, please. I want to live. Could I possibly? What time? 10:35. She won't be back from the theater till after 11. And she's... I'll take my chances. If I can only get out of bed. Walk. Crawl if I have to. Everything's swimming. Dizzy. I mustn't faint. Mustn't. Weak. So weak. Life depends. Your life. Now. One step. Open the door. Quietly. The living room. The phone was... Yes. On that glass table. They took the phone off the hook. Reach down. Replace. One more step. Only one. Oh, dear Lord, no. Oh, just put my phone back. Hang on. Put this one back on the hook and then get back to my... Bedroom. Now, just one step. What in the name of Claudia?
Todd, you can't help her. Sitting here by her bedside all night, it does no good. You've got a matinee. I'll sit with her.
You're dead on your feet, too. Dead. What a word to use now.
She isn't dead, and she may not die.
No. She lost so much blood. Wrists cut when she crashed through that table. So much blood they didn't dare move her to a hospital. And now look at her. White as a sheet.
Go and get some sleep, Todd. I'll stay with her. And Todd...
Yes?
Forget the deal.
I don't get you.
I agreed to play nurse because you needed somebody you could trust. You know something, darling? You trusted the wrong woman. You wanted me to protect her against Mary. And I said, okay. In exchange for that character lead in your new film. But you know what I was really after, Todd?
Oh, no. Not you. Not after all these years.
Afraid so. I'm a woman. I love you. Enough not to envy you your happiness with her.
I love you, too. But I love her a hell of a lot more.
Claudia?
Mary?
Shh. Now listen, dear. They're asleep. He in his room and her in that chair. I still have my key.
Oh, Mary, you came at last.
Shh. Now quiet, dear. I'm going to take you down in the service elevator. I jammed the door. And then into my car and home to my place. Where you'll be safe, honey. Really safe. Now, can you walk?
I can't even get up,
dear. And I can't carry you. Honey, you've got to find the strength to walk. The tonic. I'll give you a glass of the tonic. That always gave you quick strength.
No, it's poison.
Oh, no. They wouldn't have dared to do that. If they succeeded in poisoning you, the coroner would have impounded the bottle. No, they'd have poisoned the glass, not the bottle. Here, now you drink this right down.
Yes.
No.
Awake. You're awake.
You bet I'm awake. And waiting for you. I've been waiting for you to give yourself away. So Mr. Hammond and I could turn you over to the police with the evidence to convict you.
Evidence to convict me? You're crazy. She's crazy. This woman's crazy.
Claudia, Todd told you the truth about Mary being insanely in love with him.
What?
Of propositioning him, the whole scene. Todd put up with her insane nonsense till she said something one day that made him realize she intended, one way or another, to kill you.
Oh, you're lying. That isn't true. It can't be true. Not of Mary.
It's all too true of Mary. And I can prove it. I can prove it by what Mary just told you.
What? What did Mary just tell me?
That if Todd and I wanted to kill you, we'd not have risked poisoning the bottle of tonic. Only the glass.
What?
Well, I never poisoned the bottle. And so I'll drink it straight off. There.
You drank the whole bottle.
It's quite delicious. And healthy. So you drank it.
What does that prove?
It proves that what you poured into the glass, Mary, could not have been poisoned unless you slipped the poison into the glass. Which you did.
No, I did not.
In that case, Mary, drink the glass. So go on, Mary. Drink it.
Mary.
I hate you. I have always hated you, you sniveling little invalid. A man like him needing a woman. Needing a wife, the kind of wife that I could have been. That's why I wrote those letters. To prepare you for the death that you had coming to you. And to play it smart. Yes, smart. Because if anything had gone wrong, he would have been blamed for your murder, not me.
You're crazy.
I am not crazy.
She's stupid, too.
Todd, stupid? I was stupid?
That letter from a friend. Only 4 people knew Claudia took that tonic. Claudia, Dr. Stein, me, and you. Marge, call the police, will you?
Trust. Truth. Trust, it would seem, can be many things, or at least a thing of infinite variety. As for truth, well, the evidence seems clear that one man's truth is another man's lie. The answer to this complexity? Surely the answer lies in the complexity of you, of me, of all mankind. Where else? I'm sure you'll want to know that Claudia is now fully recovered from her illness and that she and Todd are very happy together. As for Margaret Sutton, would you believe that the role she played in Todd's film revived her acting career? Well, it did. Our cast included Nina Foch, Charles Aidman, Leslie Woods, Joan Tompkins, and Joe DeSantis. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown. This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams.
Friendly music station, KIXI, dial 91 AM, Seattle.
CBS News, energy and the price of oil were the subjects of discussion on two sides of the world Wednesday evening. I'm Jim Kilpatrick reporting on the CBS Radio Network. President Ford journeyed to Philadelphia to address a Republican fundraising dinner. He plugged his economic plan and emphasized again the need for U.S. self-sufficiency in the field of energy.
If we are to grasp successfully the problems of energy, we have to do something affirmatively to find other sources. We have to develop and produce those resources at home, whether it's oil or coal or geothermal or solar or any one of the other alternatives, nuclear included, that will be a substitute. So we cannot be held up by others who come from lands across the oceans.
President Ford speaking Wednesday evening in Philadelphia. Across the ocean, Secretary of State Kissinger is meeting with leaders in the Middle East. Marvin Cowell reports from Cairo.
The Ford administration is hoping to reduce fuel imports by as much as 18% this coming year. That is a cut of 1 million barrels of imported crude oil a day. The U.S. imports a bit less than 6 million barrels a day, a third of which comes from the Arab oil-producing nations. Secretary Kissinger did not come here to discuss the high price of oil, but it would be surprising indeed if the topic did not come up during his current swing through the Middle East. Part of America's policy now is to restrict food shipments to those countries which harm the United States by restricting fuel exports or charging too much for them. This is a highly selective and delicate diplomatic program. A basic part of Kissinger's policy is to organize the consuming nations into a cooperative unit able to defend their interests against the oil producers. He hopes to complete this process sometime before next March. Marvin Cowell, CBS News, Cairo.
More after this. Time Magazine. What's in it for you this week?
Cover story. Gerald Ford trying to fight back. What the administration proposes as solutions to America's three biggest problems: inflation, recession, and the price of oil.
A nationwide report on how big the problem really is.
Why it may get worse.
And which of the president's programs seems most promising.
Time also looks into who is hurting and who is not, as inflation and economic stagnation hit nearly every family.
And in the economy, Time reports on what might happen if the countries that use oil could unite as solidly as the countries that produce it.
In the world, a first-hand look at life under Cuban socialism.
In behavior, a character study of Lyndon Baines Johnson by a young psychohistorian who once worked at the White House.
And in art, new knowledge about one of the most enigmatic geniuses in history, Leonardo da Vinci.
It's all there in Time.
Pick up a copy today.
For Time makes everything more interesting,
including you.
Nelson Rockefeller has agreed to supply a written explanation of financial gifts he has made to aides and public figures. The Senate Rules Committee may reopen Rockefeller's vice presidential confirmation hearings after the November election. More on the Rockefeller gifts from Connie Chung.
Last Christmas, Nelson Rockefeller gave Steuben glass figurines costing a total of more than $32,000 to members of the National Commission on Water Quality. Rockefeller is chairman of the 14-member commission, which includes 5 senators, 5 representatives, and 4 public members. A spokesman for Rockefeller described the figurine as a trout leaping out of a mountain brook to catch a fly. Each costs $2,300. Some of the senators concerned about any appearance of impropriety gave their gifts away. One senator said he saw nothing wrong with the gift, but he said, "It's just that Rockefeller gives Steuben glass the way others give away neckties." Connie Chung, CBS News, Washington.
The 7 guerrillas who gave up the Venezuelan consulate in Santo Domingo and released their hostages have arrived in Panama. The guerrillas were picked up by a bus when they left the plane. It is not known where they were taken. The freed hostages are reported in good condition in Santo Domingo. More after this.
You've seen the Budweiser commercials on television, and maybe you've wondered how long people have been putting that famous Bud label on things. Well, not as long as the brewers of Bud have been putting things on the label. Things like a list of Bud's most important ingredients. Quote, brewed by our original process from the choicest hops, rice, and best barley malt. And things like the following statement. This is the famous Budweiser beer. We know of no brand produced by any other brewer which costs so much to brew and age. Our exclusive Beechwood aging produces a taste, a smoothness, and a drinkability you will find in no other beer at any price. Unquote. Yes, brewing beer right does make a difference. Read the Bud label. Taste the king of beers, and you'll agree, when you say Budweiser, you've said it all. Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis.
Massachusetts Governor Sargent has ordered 400 extra policemen into Boston after a federal judge refused to send U.S. Marshals. 300 state police and 100 district officers were ordered to aid in quelling disturbances related to court-ordered busing to achieve integration. The action comes after another day of disturbances in the city, mainly in the predominantly black Roxbury section of Boston. I'm Jim Kilpatrick, CBS News.
For the first time in history, the World Series will be played entirely on the West Coast. The Oakland Athletics Wednesday became the American League champions, and the Los Angeles Dodgers won the National League crown. They'll meet for Game 1 in the series Saturday afternoon in Los Angeles. Oakland got the American League crown by coming out on top in the playoff series with the Baltimore Orioles. The A's clinched it Wednesday with a 2-1 victory over the Orioles. The Dodgers likewise won their playoff series, embarrassing the Pittsburgh Pirates with a 12-1 victory. This is Doug Poling, CBS News.